With the debate on tax laws, Bill number 48 of 2020 by the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Matters Finance and National Planning. Also for discussion is the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, Bill number 51 of 2020. Various bills will also be tabled for the first time. Among them, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, whose principal object of the bill seeks to amend the Constitution of Kenya. This is to allow the President to appoint Cabinet Secretaries from members of Parliament. The bill further seeks to empower the President to assign the Attorney General the duties of a Cabinet Secretary. The bill further seeks to amend Article 179 of the Constitution to allow a county governor appoint members of the County Assembly as members of his or her county executive committee and to make members of the county executive committees accountable to the people through county assemblies. The bill is sponsored by Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. The Children Amendment Bill number 2020 is also lined up for tabling. It's a bill sponsored by Honorable Peter Kaluma. The bill seeks to amend the Children's Act to be in conformity with the Constitution. The bill further seeks to vest equal responsibility. This is for parental care and protection of child in both mother and father, whether they are married to each other or not. This particular bill further provides that neither the father nor the mother of the child in question shall have a superior right or claim against the other person in exercise of such parental responsibilities. The bill by Honourable Member also seeks to amend clauses 2, 3, and 4 to ensure that a consequential amendment is made in clause 4 and 5. On your screens is the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Justin Muturi. I'll now hand you over for the live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing. Good afternoon.
Let us pray. Almighty God, who in wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests were committed to our church. Amen. Farewell. Can proceed.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Yep.
Salim Faiswal Abdallah Badir.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, na kukabidhi mjumbe mteule wa eneo bunge la Msambweni kwako, na pia nachukua fursa hii Mheshimiwa Spika kuwashukuru Hustlers Nation wote na wale na wale wote waliochangia katika shughuli hii ya kuweza kumpata mjumbe huyu ambaye anakuwa ni mwakilishi wa Msambweni, kwa sababu tuliachwa na Mheshimiwa Dori. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Jina lake ni Faisal Abdalla Badr Salim. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Are you Muslim?
Yes, Muslim.
Do you want to swear in English or Swahili?
Swahili.
Swahili.
Mimi Faisal Abdalla Badr, nikiwa nimechaguliwa kama mwanachama wa bunge la kitaifa, na hapa kwa jina la Mwenyezi Mungu kwamba nitakuwa mwaminifu na mtiifu kwa watu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, kwamba nitatii, nitaheshimu, nitatetea, nitatunza, nitahifadhi na kulinda katiba ya Jamhuri ya Kenya, na kwamba nitatekeleza majukumu yangu ya ubunge kwa uaminifu na uangalifu. Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Eh? Very well. Very well, very well, very well. Order, members, order. Order, members. Order, members, order. Take your seats. Take your seats. Take your seats. Take your seats, order members. Take your seats. Now, honor members, I think the brief cacophony that you have engaged in is sufficient as a welcome for the new member from Msambweni. You know, the normal way of congratulating and welcoming a new member is not shouting. That is the way. Now we go back to business. We go back to business.
Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Honorable Mwashetani. You have indicated you have a petition. You have a petition. You can use the dispatch box. Use the dispatch box. Don't over-celebrate. Use the dispatch box.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have a petition, a public petition.
Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a public petition on behalf of the undersigned family of the late Mr. Mohamed Munyihaji Bwika. Mr. Speaker, I draw the attention of this House as follows. That the family of the late Mr. Mohamed Munyihaji Bwika, comprising over 100 family members, has been the bona fide owner of land registered under parcel number Kwale/Tiwi/1640, measuring 2.5 hectares. Kwale Tiwi/1660, measuring 1.07 hectares. Kwale Tiwi/463, measuring 0.9 hectares. Kwale Tiwi/1663, measuring 0.8 hectares. And LR number 13444, Diani Beach, measuring 4.5 hectares. That the family possesses title deed to 4 land parcels, with the exception of LR number 13444, Diani Beach, regarding which efforts for issuance of a title deed has taken over 40 years of application and unmitigated delays. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, that in 1972, the government embarked on an ambitious program to construct the Diani complex from Tiwi to Diani location in the then Kwale district that required 300 acres of land along the beach. And subsequently, all plots of land within the identified site were surveyed and the sizes recorded in the names of their respective owners, with the Bwika family obtaining LR 13444 as the plot number for this property. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, in 1997, the then government publicly announced that it had abandoned the Diani complex project, with the then president directing that the land that had been acquired for the program be returned to the original owners. Number 5, that unfortunately government officials who seem bent on defrauding the dispossessing the coastal native of their land undertook an elaborate and sustained scheme to frustrate landowners who applied for their respective title deeds. Number 6, Mr. Speaker, in an attempt to conceal their activities, these government officials further opted to vary records by for instance, compensating some land owners as little as 1 acre of land far inland instead of compensation for 5 acres of land along the beach, and further resorted to use the unapproved plan to subdivide the land. Number 7, Mr. Speaker, the Bwika family later learned that their plot had been irregularly subdivided and allocated to a senior government official under a new plot number, and was thereafter included in the title deed issued by the government to the adjacent Congo Mosque plot. Number 8, Mr. Speaker, despite the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission issued a gazette notice confirming the Bwika family as the rightful owner of plot number 13444 Diani Beach, the local administration submitted documents indicating that new plot number had changed to 13665/1 Kwale under the ownership of Gami Properties Limited.
Mr. Speaker, the purported developer has already commenced construction of a perimeter wall around the plot with the aid of police officers who offer 24-hour security at the site, despite the plot belonging rightfully to the Buika family, who have paid its annual land rates to the local authority for decades. Number 10, Mr. Speaker, effort to have this matter further addressed by the relevant authorities, including the Kwale Land Registry, the then Commissioner of Lands, and multiple government officials have been futile, and that the matter in respect of which this petition is made is not pending before any court of law or constitutional body. Now, therefore, your humble petitioner pray that the National Assembly, through Departmental Committee of Lands, 1, inquires into the matter with a view to securing, with the assistance of the National Land Commission, the revocation of the current title deed from Ganui Properties Limited and the subsequent issuance of a title deed to the Buika family and the restoration of land parcel under the Diani Beach Complex to the rightful owners. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, make any other orders or directions that it deemed fit in the circumstances of the matter, and your petitioners will ever pray. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, honourable members, again, just like I said in the morning, given that this is a special sitting, which is called specifically for business that was indicated in the Gazette notice, there will be no comments. The petition is committed to the Departmental Committee on Lands to do as appropriate. So we'll go to the next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader Majority.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House. Today is Tuesday, 22nd of December, 2020, afternoon sitting. Number 1, the legal notice number 207 of 2020 relating to the income tax, digital service tax regulations of 2020 from the National Treasury. Number 2, the draft breast milk substitutes regulation and control, general regulations of 2020 from the Ministry of Health. Number 3, the reports of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect to the following institutions for the year ended 30th of June 2019 and the certificates therein. 1, the State Department for Regional and Northern Corridor Development. 2, the State Department for Social Protection. Number 3, the State Department for Youth. And lastly, the State Department for Public Service and Youth.
Very well, that concludes that aspect. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements. Order number 8, procedural motion, limitation of debate.
Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 97-1, and notwithstanding the resolution of the House of February 18, 2020, during the special sittings of the House of December 22, 2020, this afternoon, each speech in debate on bills, motions, and committee reports shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 1.5 hours, with not more than 15 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking except for the leader of the majority party, leader of the minority party, and chairperson of the relevant committee, who shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee in that order. Honourable members, you'll note that we have just this sitting to transact quite some business, and even some we thought would be completed in the morning attracted so much interest from the members that we now finding ourselves with the business on the order paper. We only have like 4 hours, depending on also the next motion that which I'll also be moving. And hence it becomes necessary that we reapportion our time so that we can at least transact the various businesses that are before us. And basically the effect of this as compared to ordinary days is ordinarily we go for 2.5 hours per item. But after consulting with members, including some from the House Business Committee, we thought it will be best that we limit the debate to 1.5 hours, and members will have the opportunity to transact on the area of interest so that we are able to finish the business today. And I don't have to ask the Speaker to call you another day between now and your holiday, so you can go feeling we've done our business. So it's a very straightforward matter, and I would also, I'm sure that even as we go on with the discussions, much as we are allocating 5 minutes, if members, as they did in the morning, will be generous enough to speak for 3 minutes, stick to the subject matter, we will have as many members as possible contributing. And as I move, I also would wish to record at this point sincere thanks that when we invited you to come and interrupt your holidays, you did. We don't take this for granted, and I'm sure at some appropriate time, I will also reciprocate. The good gesture. But the good thing is that we are here and we are happy. Let's do the business together, and then we shall see how the day progresses. With those words, I beg to move and ask the leader of the minority party to second.
Honorable John Bandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me also take the cue by thanking members for having taken heed to come for this special sitting or special sittings as were gazetted by you, Mr. Speaker. And you can see the turnout is very impressive. When these sittings were called, I was doubtful whether we would raise this number of quorum, and I think this is commendable. I want to congratulate my colleagues. And really, there's nothing much to say in seconding this motion. This is basically a procedural motion, and the leader majority has clearly stated why it is necessary. I think we need to take advantage of this sitting so that we don't prolong or call another sitting. Mr. Speaker, members want to have time with their families. Some of us actually had to cut short our holidays to come back and transact business. So I'm sure many of us would want now to take time with their families and also our constituents, because this is a festive season. Mr. Speaker, I second.
Member for Budalangi, would you want to? That one who is unable to find a seat. Member for Narok South. Member for Narok South. At least I can identify you notwithstanding the mask. Honourable members, I propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provision of standing under 97(1), and notwithstanding the resolution of the House on February 18, 2020, during the special sittings of the House of December 22nd, 2020, this afternoon, each speech in debates on bills, motions, and committee reports shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 1.5 hours with not more than 15 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking, except for the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee, who shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes, and that priority in speaking be according to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee, in that order. seems like it's there that I put the question. I put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, and notwithstanding the resolution of the House on February 18th, 2020, during the special sitting of the House on December 22nd, 2020, this sitting, each speech in debate on bills, motions, and committee reports shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 1.5 hours with not more than 15 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking, except for the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee, who shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes, and the priority in speaking be according to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee in that order. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 9, procedural motion, extension of sitting time until conclusion of specified business.
Leader of Majority Party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 33A, this House orders that should the time appointed for adjournment of the House be reached before conclusion of the business on today's order paper, the sitting of the House shall stand extended until the conclusion of the said business. Again, honorable members, this is just for good order and to ensure that we can take full advantage of our having made our sacrifices and come here today, that 7 o'clock does not find us, perhaps with only 7 or 8 minutes to go to clear the business, and whatever we have invested in the whole day will then have been put to hold until another special sitting. So it's for abundance of caution. I do anticipate we have 2 main business for the committee of the whole House. With the 1.5 hours we just approved, that should be 3, between order number 11 and number 12, that should be 3 hours. We have 4 hours between now and 7 o'clock. And we should be able to finish the committee of the whole House and conclusion of the tax laws. But in the unlikely event that we overrun the 7 o'clock, at least we have covered ourselves. I don't expect we'll be leaving here at midnight. It probably will be a few extra minutes past 7, but I would like to ask that we, as much as possible, having made the sacrifices, show the Kenyan people that when called upon, as usual, that we'll be there to stand for our great republic and pass the laws that are required to be passed between now and the turn of the year. So, again, I just want to, we've done this before, fellow members, and I'm sure we will do it again today, so that at least the investment we made from morning to now will be brought to a logical conclusion before we break off for Christmas, and we have given Kenyans a Christmas gift in terms of the business of the House that is before us and which is critical for the people of Kenya. So with those few remarks, I once again would wish to beg to move and ask the leader of Minority Party to second.
Honorable John Bandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, again, looking at the order paper, members will realize that we have 3 items, major items, and these are all critical, Mr. Speaker. We need to approve the statutory instrument on value-added tax so that it is operationalized legally now. Mr. Speaker, again, the anti-doping, we are all aware of how the world athletics is more concerned. And you know, Kenya, one of our main, or one of the things that has made Kenya very popular worldwide is athletics. We don't want to be caught on the wrong side of the World Athletics body, and so we need to dispose of this. But finally, Mr. Speaker, is also the tax laws amendment bill. So these 3 issues, these 3 items, Mr. Speaker, I would ask the members to sacrifice their time, which is basically today, so that by the end of today, we are done with them, we go back to enjoy our holiday. And Mr. Speaker, I hope we may not need to recall Parliament again before we formally resume in February. But if there will be, if duty calls, Mr. Speaker, we'll again plead with the members to come back for some other business. But for today, the business that is on the order paper, let us sacrifice a little of our time in the event that the time for the House to rise will arrive before we finish the items on the order paper. Mr. Speaker, I second.
Members, I propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 30, subsection 3, this House orders that should the time appointed for adjournment of the House be reached before conclusion of the business on today's order paper, the sitting of the House shall stand extended until the conclusion of the said business. Apparently, you're in a very good mood. Bruce, let me, as you desire, let me put the question. That pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 30, subsection 3, this House orders that should the time appointed for adjournment of the House be reached before conclusion of the business on today's order paper, the sitting of the House shall stand extended until the conclusion of the said business. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, the Tax Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020, second reading.
When the House rose in the morning sitting, the member for Nakuru Town East, Honorable David Gikaria, was on the floor. He has a balance of 3 minutes. Naturally, he's in the House. So, Honorable Gikaria.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I said earlier, I stand to support this motion, Honorable Speaker, based on the facts that has been alluded to by the committee. And I want to thank the committee, Honorable Chair, for having done a very effective public participation where we can see very credible stakeholders who attended the public participation. And the committee was able to give its comment for or against each and every amendment that the stakeholders had proposed. And I think that is a good work where the committee took into effect every amendment that was proposed by the stakeholders, and they were able to give an indication as to whether they agree or they did not agree. Honorable Speaker, it is important also to separate politics and the economic growth of this country. And it is important that we consider that this country requires revenue that we are asking for us to be able to take to our constituency and be able to develop, that a government cannot be able to actualize its objective if they are not able to raise. Honorable Speaker, the only way that the government can be able to get money is through taxation or borrowing. Honorable Speaker, if we go to the direction that we will not pass this bill, Honorable Speaker, then the only option that will be left is for this country or this government to be able to borrow from outside this country. And that is a temptation, Honorable Speaker, I resist to be taken to. I would wish that, as it has always been indicated, that we can be able to raise our own resources from within without borrowing, because the consequences, Honorable Speaker, of borrowing are known to this House. Honorable Speaker, we know, and I want to agree with the committee. They did agree with one stakeholder, and that is the Petroleum Institute. And some of the products that were going to be affected was petroleum. And of course, EPRA has regulated the fuel consumption and the fuel prices in this country. And I think it is important for us to note that the committee did agree with that institute that there was no need of. Honorable Speaker, I know.
The Honorable Alandwa. Just a minute. What are you doing? Honorable Alandwa, be upstanding. You cannot move from there. Walk as if you are in a bush. Get up. Go up to the door. You know, on account of your height, you think you cannot be seen. Just walk from there. Yes, now you can go and say hi to whoever you wanted to. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And the last point, Honorable Speaker, is that where this House does agree to a reduction of the taxes, that tax must cascade to the consumers. But in this case, Honorable Speaker, our travelers are still paying very high fares for them to be able to travel. So the actual savings actually is left by the few people who are left with that money instead of cascading that to the common man. So, Honorable Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to support the motion.
Honorable Atandi, member for Lagos Songa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think I want to support the motion. I believe we are already debating the motion.
Where are you? Then where you are not here? Debate on this motion started in the morning sitting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You start saying you think. You don't have to think.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the bill, Tax Laws Amendment Bill 2020. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say that even when we were going through the tax laws during at the onset of the COVID pandemic, I remember saying, Honorable Speaker, that some of the proposals that were contained in that bill were quite unnecessary because there was no formula of ensuring that if we have a law where, for instance, we were reducing corporate tax by 5 basis points, that there was a way that was going to benefit the common man. And most of us said that even for the VAT Acts, there was no way in which we were going to ensure that these various companies were going to transfer those benefits to the common man. And therefore, we felt that the government should have afforded a better approach of possibly collecting these taxes and, plowing them back to the various sectors that really required them for the purposes of intervening in the consequences of the COVID pandemic. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, now that these taxes are being reversed, I want to thank the government for really thinking through this, and I want to urge members to really support this because this is the only way for us as government to be able to meet the needs of our citizenry. And Honorable Speaker, in this House, members think that Parliament is not part of government. Parliament is one of the arms of government. And if government is failing, that failure will not only touch on the executive, but will touch on the House. And therefore, I think it is time, Honorable Speaker, that we all rise up and be able to redo some of these taxes so that our people and our government will be able to get money, for instance, Honorable Speaker, to pay, for our items that were passed in the budgets. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that recently, I think 2 days ago, the CS for Treasury, while appearing before one of the committees of Parliament, said that we are going to be in the red, and that we may not even be able to pay salaries. Members of this House know very well that if they do not receive their salaries, they will not come to work. And therefore, I do not expect any member of this House to rise up and oppose these amendments, because if they do that, they will be failing themselves, they will be failing their constituents, and therefore they will be failing in their duty as elected members of this House. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I support.
Member for Garissa Township.
Mr. Speaker, today is one of my very difficult days. In a similar motion like this, is a day when you have to make a choice. A very difficult choice. But I will make it because that is what leadership requires. Speaker, this special sitting has been called, among others, to seek or to reverse the tax cuts which were introduced to cushion Kenyans from the economic ravages of the COVID-19. And I think the reason behind that, and that convinced this House to do that, was to create an economic stimulus on behalf of the people so that we balance between the revenue shortfall, which is about 840 billion, to make sure the small, medium businesses in our country, and also in the employment sector, the many who have been laid off, the many who have their salaries cut by 50%, and the many who have been sent on unpaid leave, was to create a stimulus and to create a way for survival. But, Mr. Speaker, we must live to the reality at this House. We must live to the reality. There are a lot of stories that this is as a result, this tax laws amendment is as a result of a pressure from the International Monetary Fund, and who have forced the National Treasury to, and have agreed with the National Treasury to do away with the income tax, the VAT and the sales levy that we reduced earlier this year. Mr. Speaker, to close the gap between the budget that the Minister for Finance read to this House and the revenue which is estimated to be accrued, then this House has to make a decision. And that decision must be today. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, I really wanted to speak to that extension of time. And as the leader of majority, you know the problem here is you can extend time up to 9 o'clock, and by the time you finish business, the numbers have reduced below 50. So you cannot put the question. So the leader of majority and the minority should have asked members at least to stay. In fact, it's better we stay until 7, but utilize that time properly. Because I have seen from my experience, you can extend time, and it's good to extend time when it's not a special sitting, because you have the next day or you have the next week. But today, if members will not be here, even if we sit here until 8 or 9 and we don't have the quorum, I think we'll have a problem. So, Mr. Speaker, the choice, because the economy, in my opinion, as a leader, is in the ICU. So we have to make a choice. Do we remove the machines and the economy collapses, or do we pass this bill so that the economy can survive for a few months in anticipation of the pandemic getting off? The other choice is to borrow, Mr. Speaker. To borrow, I am not for that idea. Already we are at 7-point-something trillion. So, Mr. Speaker, I really want to urge members that even the reduction we did in VAT and all these didn't even trickle down to our people. It didn't. So I think we support the extension, the bringing up of the 14% to 18%, and let's see how we can, because the choice is between two evils. Do we borrow? I'm not for that idea. We already, where is the economy? The economy is in ICU. So how do we bring it back to HDU? Is by supporting this. So I think I really want to urge leaders that I had a lot of soul searching on this over the night and today, and I have looked at it. I think the best thing is let us support. Let us make sure KRA can at least collect another extra 840 billion. We can get our CDF. We can get our salaries. If we don't do this, Mr.
Member for Amoya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this chance.
What's the point of order? There's a point of order from Honorable Pukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Despite
there's a point of order from the member for Endebess.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I didn't want to interrupt the member for Emuhaya, but considering what the former majority leader said, that we need numbers so that we can be able to finish this business, I'm standing under Standing Order 95 to call that the mover be called to reply.
Very well. Very well. I hear the Honorable Pukose, but the member for Emuhaya, you are sitting? You are sitting ground?
Say something.
Say it.
Let me say something. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Say it since you are on your feet.
And thank you, members, for allowing me to say something before then we move there. That coming from a background of workers and teachers and the general proletariats, I would wish that, like the former speaker has just put it, we support the government. I thought through this, and I was careful to realize that unless the government is strong with funds, it will not be possible for salaries to be paid. And if salaries are not paid, we shall not have the ripple effect, what we call the multiplier effect of the same salaries to the people, and therefore grow the economy. And this will make the nation actually come to a standstill. Honorable Speaker, it is very important also to note that the people who benefited from the corporate tax, for instance, did not do anything for the workers. They still went ahead and laid off the workers, and most of the workers are at home. So we would rather better go back to where we were in hope that then they can actually employ these workers who already they removed from work despite the moratorium that they were given. Given the general mood in the House, Honorable Speaker, I wouldn't want to say more than this, but to support this motion. Thank you very much.
Now, honourable members, those of you who are on your feet, please, don't be too... Take your seat, Honorable Kubai. Take your seat, take your seat, take your seat. I don't know what it is that members feed on. They get very thirsty when they get here in the afternoon. Sometimes even in the morning. Now, honourable members, the member for Endebess, the Honourable Dr. Pukose, rose in his place, and standing on number 95, and raised that the mover be called upon to reply. I therefore put the question that the mover be called upon to reply. Will as many as without opinion say aye? Aye. As many as a counter opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Mover, Honorable Wanga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, the reason we come for water is because it's the season of sanitization. So we also take throat sanitizers, and we have to wash it down properly with water. Honorable Speaker, let me thank members who have contributed very, very strongly and variedly to this bill. I want to thank members for their support and for rising up as true leaders of this nation who know when to give and when to take. Honorable Speaker, I just want to mention one thing, which is that we had said that we were still in consultations on the issue of the tax bands, the simplification of the tax bands, simplifying the tax bands, and ensuring that those who are earning under 24,000, the most vulnerable, are actually continue to be protected. Honorable Speaker, if we were to fall back to exactly the bands as they were before COVID, then we will end up hurting the most vulnerable, those who are earning 24,000 and below. So, Honorable Speaker, the new tax bands ensure that there is simplification, but also ensures that nobody loses. Honorable Speaker, we have had serious discussions on this, and we have asked for a simulation of what the new tax bands mean. And this is going to be circulated to the members so that they can see that actually we are protecting the lowest using the new tax bands, and nobody is losing, including even the very middle and even the higher income. But if we retain the tax bands as they were, then we will hurt the most vulnerable in our society. So in order to retain that, the new tax bands will now take effect. So, Honorable Speaker, I'd like to ask the members, when we come to the committee, to support the new tax bands because they retain the protection for the most vulnerable, even as we revert. So they are actually a good thing. So, Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to reply.
Honourable members, I put the question, which is that the Tax Laws Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020, be now read a second time. Yeah? Oh, I didn't put the question. Sorry. I thought, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Sorry, honourable members, I thought there was such overwhelming concurrence, I assumed it was.
A bill for an act of parliament to make amendments to the tax-related laws.
Next.
Order number 11, motion. Consideration of the value-added tax, amendment of the rate of tax, order 2020.
The Honourable William Kamket, the Chair of Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the value-added tax amendment of the tax of the rate of tax order 2020 laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, December 22, 2020, and that pursuant to the provisions of Section 6 and 7 of the Value-Added Tax Act 2013, approves the value-added tax amendment of the rate of tax order 2020, published as legal notice number 206 of 2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, very briefly, on the 25th of March this year, the President of the Republic of Kenya...
Sorry, Honourable Kamket. Section 67, not section... You know, at the answer,
Section 67, yes. Section 6 and 67. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 25th of March this year, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, made an address, and among the issues that he addressed was the reduction of the tax rate from 16 to 14%. Mr. Speaker, the reason for such drastic measures was to address the problem of the economy was going to face because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Speaker, sir, this House approved that proposal in April via legal notice number 35. Mr. Speaker, sir, 8 months later, the Cabinet Secretary has brought this amendment of the tax, value-added tax order, revising it upwards, Mr. Speaker, from 14 to 16%. The main purpose of the order before you today, as indicated, is to fill the revenue shortfalls. Mr. Speaker, protect me from the member for Endebess. Well, Mr. Speaker, I don't know why members are in a hurry. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Standing Order number 210 and having 210-4 and having examined the value-added tax amendment of the rate of tax order 2020, in line with the Constitution, this House approves. I beg to move that this House approves the value-added tax amendment of the rate of tax order, legal notice number 206 of 2020, in accordance with section 62 of the VAT Tax Act 2013. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move and ask my deputy, my vice chair, to second.
Vice Chair.
Reading the mood of the House and with your kind permission, Speaker, I second.
Honour members. No, is it? Honour. No, don't do that. The member for Limuru. Yeah, you know this House, and like others, we don't want to keep walking around. Honour members, I propose the question that this House adopts a report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the value-added tax amendment of the rate of tax order 2020 laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020, and pursuant to the provisions of sections 6 and 67 of the Value-Added Tax Act 2013, approves the value-added tax amendment of the rate of tax order 2020, published as legal notice number 206 of 2020. Yeah? Member Kikuyu, you wanted to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is good, Honorable Speaker, to put the question quick, but also good because we are here to represent the people to speak on their behalf. Honorable Speaker, you do recall when we passed this regulation earlier this year, we are on record, myself and the leader of majority, Honorable Kimunya and the Honorable Kaluma, saying it to government and to the National Treasury that what they were doing was not right. And indeed, I remember putting forth the argument that it would have been better to collect the close to 50 billion shillings that we were losing and use that money to offer social support to those who would be vulnerable, courtesy of the COVID pandemic, Honorable Speaker. And the danger in reducing VAT, Honorable Speaker, as we argued then, was that the same would not trickle down to Mwananchi, and it would only benefit business people. Honorable Speaker, shockingly today, with the increase, Honorable Speaker, from 14 to 16%, I can bet, Honorable Speaker, the day after tomorrow, there are prices of commodities that will go up because business people are in business driven by the profit motive and not anything else, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I therefore want to caution the National Treasury, and even as we move to the tax amendments, Honorable Speaker, there are certain things as we do as a House, Honorable Speaker, we must be cautious, and it is good to be seen to be supporting the government. And I say to be seen, but we must have reason as to why we support certain actions of government. Government is not always right. Honorable Speaker, the reason the former President Mwai Kibaki established the National Economic Council was to be able to benefit from other ideas outside of the bureaucracy in government and the old and normal, what you call in Swahili, kawaida thinking that exists in government, Honorable Speaker. It is unfortunate, Honorable Speaker, that this Economic Council today is not very active, but I pray that even as a House, because the mood seems to be to pass this particular amendment, Honorable Speaker, that we do ask government to make sure that they institute measures to ensure that they protect consumers, Honorable Speaker. Because any increase in prices, Honorable Speaker, will immensely hurt the economy, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, let me not say too much. I just wanted to remind the House that indeed we had cautioned with Honorable Kimunya, Honorable Kaluma, and as much as we are a minority, Honorable Speaker, even today, Honorable Speaker, we stand vindicated. And I would have opposed this on the basis that any increment of VAT today, Honorable Speaker, will now go back to the consumers, Honorable Speaker, and hurt the people of Kenya. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to be on record that I am not in the chorus to increase VAT from 14 to 16% at this time. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President in September this year pronounced himself on this particular matter, and he directed or asked the National Treasury to allow this particular provision to exist until July of 2021. Whoever has decided, Honorable Speaker, to go against that advice by the President, I want to stand with my President in protecting the people of Kenya against increases, Honorable Speaker, and I want to be on record to oppose. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Chingo, listen. Chairman, listen. Honorable Speaker, I agree with what Honorable Shungo is saying, and I respect him a lot because he was a former chair of the Budget Committee. But Mr. Speaker, is it fair for Honorable Shungo to speak from both sides of the mouth? He's saying that he's on record in this House that he opposed the reduction of VAT from 16% to 14%. And today he's saying he's opposed, Chair, he's opposed to increasing the same VAT from 14 to 16 where he wanted, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is clearly that Honorable Shungo is playing to the gallery. He is speaking to people outside this House. He's not just addressing us as people of this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if he was for the idea that VAT should remain at 16%, that's exactly what we are doing today here. We are agreeing with him that VAT should not have been reduced to 14 because it's not going to benefit Kenyans. But now he's telling us here that let us not increase it. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Ishungwa has discovered now that being seen to be supporting government is wrong. He has discovered, like Vasco da Gama just the other day, Mr. Speaker, as we have seen it long time. But Mr. Speaker, we have agreed to live in that kind of manner and form. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Junet, Vasco da Gama, I remember the pillar was put up in 1496. 1496 is when that pillar at Malindi was put, the Vasco da Gama pillar. Honorable Kaluma, you also want to contribute to this? Honorable Kaluma. He has no card. Yeah, give him. You know, the members, I've also tried to find out from the staff, and it has been brought to my attention that some of you occasionally remember your PIN numbers, so you come and punch and you relax. You assume that the card will work the rest.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. You must press enter. Please.
Speaker,
I hope Honorable Kaluma is not a victim of that.
Speaker, we rushed to Nairobi on being called to transact this urgent business. But, Mr. Speaker, this is a day that Englishmen would call the chicken have come home to roost, or a prophet seeing his prophecies actualized in his lifetime. Mr. Speaker, when we had the COVID outbreak, I spoke here very passionately about the reliable, sources of revenue for government. And Mr. Speaker, the Hansard would confirm that I questioned why the state was rushing to reduce income tax, value-added tax, among other taxes, which are the most reliable sources of revenue to government. At a time, Mr. Speaker, I said before this House that this COVID thing was a new thing. The world was still mulling about how it would be, what its real impact in terms of its effect to the economy, its effect to the society would be, its effect in terms of health would be. And I said this thing will require us to invest a lot, not just in the economy or socially. We didn't know we would have a lockdown when I was speaking here. Mr. Speaker, what has happened now? I told the government that there is a difference between saying we want to be good because the world is in difficulties. We want to be good, including in relieving people of paying monies whose effect they don't realize, but which are very important to government. I'm happy Mr. Speaker, that the government now realizes that Honorable Ichung'wah was right, Honorable Kimunya was right, I, together with a few others, were right. This is a source of revenue, Mr. Speaker, we could ill afford to reduce. We are now in a situation where we are not able to fund those essential services, and we don't know when this situation is ending. We now have reduced time for trade, among other things. But now we have only the option, as the majority leader says, that our option would be to borrow. We also know the pressures of repayment of those loans, a cry we have been having before. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the government for this realization and the boldness and the courage to say that as the leadership of the House, we can make amends to sustain our nation and the economy. And let me request my brother, Honorable Ichung'wah, that always we are here and being watched live because we are the constant north of the nation. We are the leadership of the nation. Just the same way he made the painful decision to say, even though the bill came with his name, to say that in as much as we are pushing it, this one will push our nation to the corner, I think should be the same stand he takes today. He cannot be inconsistent. In leadership, I can tell you it is very, very populist and very nice to appear good to the public there. But ultimately, when government collapses because we never made right decisions, most of the decisions which are subject to approval of this House, we all collapse. With those few remarks, I request my colleagues that what is being proposed in this bill and regulations is the right thing to do. I support, Mr. Speaker, and I urge my colleagues that we take leadership and we support this with the speed of a jet. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Which question? Yeah, somebody, have a record, the Honorable Pukose. The member for Endebess.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know all of us are capable of understanding what this report by the committee is meant to do. And I stand understanding Order 95 that the mover be called to reply.
Well, honourable members, the indomitable member for Endebess, once again has risen, understanding Order number 95. And therefore want to test whether what he says is indeed what the House thinks. And I therefore put the question, which is that the mover be called upon to reply. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes of it. Mover.
Mr. Speaker, sir, together with, I want to appreciate the members who have contributed to this motion. And together with contradictions and non-contradictions, I beg to reply.
And I hope, of course, members do appreciate that in this kind of situation, in the event the House was not to approve, then the regulations would, unless you are annulling them, the regulations would continue to have effect. But nevertheless, let me put the question, which is that this House adopts a report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Value-Added Tax Amendment of Rate of Tax Order 2020, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020, and pursuant to the provisions of Sections 6 and 67 of the Value-Added Tax Act of 2013, approves the Value-Added Tax Amendment of the Rate of Tax Order 2020, published as legal notice number 206 of 2020. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 12, the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020, second reading.
Chairman, member for Mavoko. Oh, Leader Majority. Sorry.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill of 2020, the National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020, be read a second time. Honorable Speaker, as members will appreciate, Kenya is a great sporting nation. And Kenya has been at the forefront in supporting the anti-doping measures applied on a global basis. And it's in that respect that this House passed the Anti-Doping Act of 2016, which was to harmonize the legislative framework with the 2021, which was to provide for the anti-doping measures that are applied on a global basis. Now, the objective of this bill today is to need to bring in the Act of 2016 to be in line with the 2021 World Anti-Doping Code and regulations. And this will now ensure that Kenya complies with the latest adopted code and facilitate our continued participation of our athletes in both the regional as well as the local and international competitions. As you know, doping or drug cheating in sports has been a major challenge, and it's important that we ensure that Kenya's record in sports is not compromised because of not following the international regulations. Honorable Speaker, the code has a 5-year cycle. And because of the dynamic nature of doping, new chemical substances being discovered, the first code was adopted in 2004. It was then changed in 2009, then 2015, and now it's time for the code to be changed again on a new 5-year cycle. Now, the development of the international code is an international effort. Kenya is part of it. It's been taking place and was only agreed internationally as of November. And hence, we now have the situation where we have been told the Olympics will be taking place in Japan, but only countries that will have passed or domesticated the code into their law by amending their anti-doping laws to comply with the new code will be eligible to participate. Now, knowing we are a great sporting nation, it will be so unfortunate if Kenya was to miss the timeline for action, which is 31st of December 2020. And we can imagine all our athletes who have been practicing in the Rift Valley, all those who have been practicing down coast, people who have even invested heavily and who have represented Kenya in the Olympics had it not been for COVID. If we find that those people cannot compete, they cannot compete in the Berlin Marathon, they cannot compete in all those things because this House has let them down, it will be so unfortunate. So that's one of the reasons, members, that we took this decision to bring you before Christmas, before the end of the year, so that we can give our athletes the opportunity to compete in the new year with the new anti-doping code, which will then have been incorporated within our law. So it's a very important exercise, and that's why I decided, even with the mood of the House, at least for members to appreciate what we are doing for our athletes, because we are a great sporting nation, and Kenya sets the pace in terms of the support to the international community. So, Honorable Speaker, I really don't want to go through the details. The issue is, it's so straightforward. It's something that has been negotiated on an international basis. Every country is expected to actually kind of agree with it and domesticate it. And hence, really, we can't even contemplate changing even a comma, changing even an iota of it, because it's something that's negotiated. And once everyone negotiates and everyone domesticates, then we have one standard to check on doping across the entire world, without people trying to domesticate it to their local circumstances and start saying that, yeah. And since this is on cash crop, as you are saying, especially with the youth who we need to help, I believe members will want to support, and hence I really don't want to belabor the point. It's a straightforward, and I would want to move and ask the Honorable Chair of the Sports Committee, the Honorable Patrick Macau, to second.
Honorable Macau. See, you have interacted with the bill. Honorable Kingola, just a minute, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I read the mood of the House, but Mr. Speaker, allow me to commend my committee, the banned maintenance oil. And Mr. Speaker, I must confirm to this House that we've met with the Minister of Sports, led by ADAC, the Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, they led us through, we understood it, but I think it's important for members to know the reason why anti-doping. Mr. Speaker, some of these drugs our youths and athletes are using, known as PEDs or performance-enhancing drugs. Mr. Speaker, we have seen men developing breasts and even changing their voices to feminine. Even women, Mr. Speaker, growing muscles like men. Mr. Speaker, these drugs are affecting our youth and athletes. And I think this bill, Mr. Speaker, is going to address fairness in competitions, that everybody that is going to competition, Mr. Speaker, is within the law, and that I make members understand that this law is not about Kenya. It's a code developed by WADA that we cannot add or subtract a comma or a point, Mr. Speaker. And that's why this morning I urge the whole House to support this amendment bill so that Kenyans can be free to enjoy and compete in international, regional, and continental events. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank my committee. They are all here, Mr. Speaker. They had come here to make sure that this bill goes through. I thank you very much. I second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah?
Now, honourable members, I can't put the question before I propose it. Honourable John Bandi. Honourable members, I propose the question, which is that the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020, be now read a second time. Honourable Oundo, are you?
Honourable Speaker, I didn't wish to contribute on this. You can pass it to somebody else. Thank you.
Member from where next? Oh, this was Honourable Wamalwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We do support for purposes of domestication, and we call upon the mover to reply. Thank you.
Member for Larry. Member for Baringo Central. Now you see, this is a problem. A member leaves his card in one place. That's how you lose. That's how you keep saying you have lost your card. Because some others will come and pick, and those others who pick yours, when they come next week, the next time they see it, they think it is theirs. It doesn't work.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Reading the mood of the House,
Honourable John Bandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm rising under Standing Order number 95 and asking that the mover be called upon to reply. Mr. Speaker, you can see the only people who want to contribute are those who are not in the House. So those who are kind, let's call upon the mover to reply.
It looks like Honourable 001 wants to contribute. Okay. And then
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, Honorable Speaker. I come from Rift Valley, where our youth, the only cash crop they have is athletes, Honorable Speaker, and sports, Honorable Speaker. So this one is very important for our region, Honorable Speaker. And when I have to contribute, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Bandi does not have to tell me not to contribute, because when we bring issues of Lake Victoria and issue of fish, Honorable Speaker, I will not deny him the chance to contribute, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, but I would like us, as we go forward, to make sure that our youth get an opportunity to participate in the only cash crop that they have, the athletes, especially that the Olympics is coming up in Japan, Honorable Speaker. We have to give these youth an opportunity. But as we give them an opportunity, Honorable Speaker, there are also sports for persons with disability, Honorable Speaker. And this country have not invested a lot in the sporting events of persons with disabilities. Honorable Speaker, when persons with disability win gold outside there, Honorable Speaker, it is the flag of Kenya that will be raised, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, when they come back to this country, rarely do we have leaders, Honorable Speaker, even appreciating them, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I urge you, as the third most powerful person in this country, Honorable Speaker, next time we have sporting events of persons with disability like Paralympic, Honorable Speaker, therefore Olympic, Honorable Speaker, when they come back to this country, be on the airport, Honorable Speaker, to receive them, because they have never been received even by a chief, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and persons with disability, there is no gold that is disabled. There is no gold that is disabled. How can I summarize the issue of gold not being disabled, Honorable Omalo? There is no gold that is disabled, Honorable Speaker. So let us appreciate all our sports women and men, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity.
Honorable Yamai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I support. I've listened to the mover and the seconder of this motion, and that what you're doing is just domesticating what has already been accepted internationally to ensure that our young people participate, to ensure that they don't get the health hazards associated with the chemicals that are being used. So, Honorable Speaker, I support, and I request that you call upon the mover to reply.
Well, Honourable members, Honourable Nyekal, you.
I start support, but Mr. Speaker, I just want to put a caution. There are times when we are actually eager, and probably justifiably so, to pass bills quickly. But for those committees that actually bring such bills, it is important for them to actually give the details of what is being proposed. The truth is not all members see the details of this. And like in this case, the logic that is there is that it's been adopted by all over the world, and therefore we are now adopting it so that our athletes can go and compete. But it would be important actually to know the details. What are the drugs we are talking about? What are the tests that are being done? How are they being done? So that we apply ourselves to it. So, Mr. Speaker, as I support, I think it's upon those committees, when they bring bills in these circumstances, to give more details. With that, Mr. Speaker, I support.
I suspect possibly that should have been in their report, isn't it? Yeah. Honorable Macau, you want to respond? The point being made by the Honorable Nyekal is a valid one.
Mr. Speaker, I hear so. But I mean, many times, Mr. Speaker, you have told members, before they make contribution to this House and before commending, they first read the report. However, this is a special report, Mr. Speaker. You know the process is 5 years. And you know these recommendations come, like this one was passed by Cabinet 8th of December, Mr. Speaker. So I know where the doctor is coming from. He might not have had time to read the report. I encourage him to go to room 7 to get the report, and you'll see how the processes are done. And that's why I recommended ADAC, Kenya, for the research and putting together the consultation with the Attorney General, with the WADA, Mr. Speaker. It's a big document. So, Dr. Nyekal, you are free to read that report, and I'm sure you are going to advise even ADAC better, or even the WADA itself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Of course, I think perhaps you needed to explain to not just to the Honorable Nyekal, that when you talk about ADAC, what is ADAC? When you talk about WADA?
The Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya.
Yes.
Thank you. And WADA is World Anti-Doping Agency.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You see, it's important. You can see the member for Ndiwa was almost getting lost. Now, somebody says that they thought you had to mention the Honorable Wanga. Now, honorable members, I've been now asked by two members to put the question, and standing order number 95, which is that the mover be called upon to reply. Will as many as that opinion say aye? As many as counter opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to thank the members. Like I said, they are very straightforward, yet very important bill that now we can close the year and showing the world that we are not only a great sporting nation, but we are at the forefront in ensuring that the latest anti-doping code is incorporated and within our laws. And that our athletes, like I said, all our young ones, all those who've been shining in London marathons, in Berlin marathons, including, keeping that record for under 2 minutes, that it's demonstrated and supported by, under 2 hours. It looked like 2 minutes, but under 2 minutes, under 2 hours, that they have not only got the encouragement from people, but they also have the support from their lawmakers in ensuring that they are protected as they go out there. And with those few remarks, I want to thank members for once again, for sparing time. And I do, I'm sure, as we move to the next order, we will also move with the necessary speed so that by the time we leave here in another 1 hour, we will not only have our tax laws done, but we also have the anti-doping, and we can say, this we have done for our great republic. With those, I beg to move. I beg to reply.
Yes. Member for, is it which church? One of those churches. Is it Nyaribari Church? You see now, when I know there is a member for Kitutu Church North, now then the other church, there's also another church, but there's no member for Nyaribari Mingi or Kitutu Mingi. So, honourable members, I put one of 2020 be now read a second time. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Aye. As many as the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Anti-Doping Act to comply with the 2021 World Anti-Doping Code, to put in place an enhanced results management system for anti-doping rule violations and for connected purposes.
Honourable members, before we call out the next order, I just wish to make this appeal also from the chair that you have spent the whole day, and I think if you don't then complete to the logical conclusion the next few stages, which include consideration of the two bills in committee, and then report for the question to be put, you'll still not have achieved what you came to do. So please, I just want to appeal to those of you that are here and those that could be taking mandazi, if you could, at an appropriate time, when they are not overfed, if you can bring them in, they can help you in transacting, help the entire house actually transact. That's how they will say that they participated or they actually passed the law. So we'll move to the next order.
Order number 13, Committee of the Whole House.
Order members, now we are in the committee of the whole house. We shall be considering the tax laws amendment number 2, bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020. We shall go fairly fast, but we shall make sure that we have everyone along. Honorable members, I will propose the question that provisions relating to
provisions relating to the this is a schedule, provisions relating to the Income Tax Act Cap 470.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the provisions relating to or the Income Tax Act be amended as proposed in the bill.
Section 12D.
Honorable members, I propose a question that Section 12D be amended as proposed in the bill. We have a number of amendments. Honorable members, we have 4 amendments to Section 12D. I suppose members are moving along with us. We have Honorable John Moshiri. We have Honorable Chairperson, Committee of Finance, Honorable Anga. We have Honorable Kimani Shongwa, and we have Honorable TJ Kajwang on Section 12D. Now, we shall start with the one for Honorable Moshiri. Honorable members, it is important to appreciate this, that Honorable Moshiri amendment has a fundamental consequence to the others, because Honorable Moshiri is proposing an entire deletion of 12D. If that is carried, all the others fall. So it is very important to appreciate that reality. And in that case, we shall start with Honorable Moshiri, John Moshiri.
I have his instructions.
Honorable John Moshiri. Where is Honorable John Moshiri? What is out of order, Honorable Ishongwa? What is out of order?
Speaker, nothing is out of order. I just wanted to inform you, Honorable Speaker, that the Honorable Moshiri indicated to me that he had discussed with the chair and the leader of majority and agreed to drop that particular amendment, since the chair finance has other amendments that relate to the same provision. And therefore, it is he had requested that it be dropped.
Very well, you are holding his brief. In any case, he is not here. It would have been dropped. So let's move to the chairperson. Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the bill be amended as proposed in the order paper. Honorable Chair, and I would like to request that both Honorable Ichung'wa and Honorable Kajwang agree with me on this particular amendment, so that we only carry what has been thoroughly discussed with the committee, and then we can...
Honorable Ichung'wa, there's clear an appeal coming from the chair, and you're busy with Honorable TJ, not TJ, but Honorable Kerry. Yes, Honorable Wanga, please proceed.
So I wanted to request both members. This is a very emotive matter. It has come to the notice of the committee, but we want to deal with it more comprehensively as we move forward in the finance bill. So, Honorable Chair, I'd like to request the both of them to drop theirs so that we carry the committee amendments which have gone through thorough deliberations within the committee. I beg to move.
Order. There is an ordering there. Honorable Anga, there is a bit of order there. You are the one moving. You have done an appeal to the two of them, but yours is the one that is on the floor. I will definitely give Honorable TJ Kajwang an opportunity to speak to yours. I will also give Honorable Ishongwa an opportunity to speak to yours. We shall see whether they have been persuaded. But for now, Honorable Anga, you are the one on the floor. What is it, Honorable Chris?
Responsibility of the chair to move her amendment, give us the gist of your amendment, we deal with it. Then we'll deal with Kajwangs and the rest when their time comes, Mr.
Precisely.
Yeah, thank you.
That is the direction I had given. Honorable Anga, please, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the bill be amended as indicated on the order paper, and this is with regards to the minimum turnover tax. And the reason is, if your price is already regulated by government and you're subjected to, again, another 1% minimum tax, you are likely not to have any room for maneuver. So these are businesses that will very, very easily be killed by this turnover tax. So in addition to the few other businesses that have been noted, we beg to move that these also be those that are whose prices are regulated by government. I beg to move and ask for support.
Honorable members, I propose a question that section 12D be amended as proposed by the mover. I will give the first stab to that to Honorable TJ Kajwang.
You know, Chair, I was listening and I was watching you. I was worried that members are taking your functions to direct you on what to do. And so I listened to the chair, who has been doing very well. But today in the committee, he seems to be directing members from where he is or what she prefers members to do on the basis of amendments that members themselves have proposed. Anyway, Mr. Chair, I have looked at the report of the committee, and I was worried about the preparedness of KRA to collect this tax, particularly on the systems and management on how this money would go. And that was the basis of the amendment that you see in my proposed amendment. But having looked at the report of the committee, I can see that it exercised their minds on how KRA can then be prepared to collect this tax. And so, without anticipating debate, when my amendment is called, I will be dropping it. I will be dropping it on the basis that I see that the committee is anxious to create some preparedness, systematic order by which KRA is able to bring this money to the coffers. I thank you.
We shall give it to Honorable Ishongwa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And let me begin by thanking the Chair, Finance, because she has indeed proved to be a very consultative leader. And we have consulted, as you saw, Honorable Speaker, even the time you were accusing me of being all over, I was still consulting with the Honorable KJ, still trying to convince him also to drop some of the amendments that maybe would go with this. But it's important, Honorable Speaker, to mention that the amendments, as the Chair says, there are issues that need to be looked into more comprehensively during the finance bill. And since the finance bill is only 4 months away, you remember now this time we have to do it around April, together with annual estimates, Honorable Speaker, we'll then have an opportunity together with the committee to engage more comprehensively on these issues, Honorable Speaker. But my main concerns, Honorable Speaker, was especially on the issue of minimum tax in relation to business in insurance and for business of people who are dealing with goods or services whose pricing is regulated by government, since the pricing model is not really up to the people who engage in business but they are regulated by government and we needed to protect them. And since the chair has an amendment that captures that, Honorable Speaker, she has indeed convinced me, and I would be willing, if and when hers passes, to drop mine. So I will therefore appeal to the House at least to support the chair's and the committee's amendment. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Very well, very well. I'll proceed to put the question on that. Honorable members, I put the question that section 12D be amended as proposed by the mover. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I put the question that the provisions, no, we'll get to that later. Now, honorable members, we have two other amendments. Although they had spoken to them, they need to go on record. We still have an amendment by Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah on the same 12D. Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. Order, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. You are quite nomadic. Now, we had an amendment by Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. Although you had mentioned to the
Honorable Chair, you know, the Honorable Junet never believes that when I say I am withdrawing, once we pass the chairs, and he was indeed confirming that whether I was still withdrawing, and I have confirmed to him, and let me confirm it on record, Honorable Junet, that I am withdrawing subject to the passage of the committee's amendment.
Very well, that is dropped. Honorable TJ Kajwang, you had an amendment still on 12D.
You know, today, Chair, member for Kikuyu is very excited in a very abnormal manner. And when you see him so excited, all of us who have been in the debating chamber for long, we know that there is something. But whatever thing this something is, I may not want to go into it. Anyway, Honorable Chair, I wish to withdraw unreservedly and request member for Kikuyu, member for Kikuyu, to let us know this something which makes you so very excited in the chamber, so that we can also participate in this something.
Honorable members, now that of Honorable TJ Kajwang as well started dropped. In that case, the one that is carried is that of Chairperson, Finance. Therefore, honorable members, I now put the question that Section 12D, as amended, be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Section 12(1).
Honorable members, I propose a question that Section 12(1) be part of the bill. Honorable members, Honorable John Moshiri also had an amendment to that, but it was part of 12D, so that stands as there is no amendment to that. I therefore put the question that Section 12(1) be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
The third schedule, Head B, Item 1 and 1A.
Honorable members, I propose a question that that schedule, Item 1(1)A, be part of the bill. We have an amendment, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I beg to move that Schedule 3 be amended as proposed on the order paper.
Part 1 and 1A specifically.
Yeah, Part 1, 1A be amended as proposed in the order paper. Honorable Chair, the gist of this amendment I had spoken to briefly when I was moving, replying. There is a rearrangement of the tax bands. And the reason for the rearrangement is to protect those who earn 24,000 and below. If we just reverted without rearranging the bands, then we would expose them to tax as was the case earlier, before COVID. So, Honorable Chair, we have circulated a simulation of, of how the vulnerable are protected. For example, if you are earning 25,000 shillings in the old regime before COVID, your taxes per annum would have ended up being 16,000. But with this protection of this new band system, you'd only pay a tax of 3,000 per annum. So this is for protection of the vulnerable. Chair, I beg to move.
Yes, I'll put the question, but not before proposing. Honorable members, I propose a question that the third schedule, item 1 and 1A, be amended as proposed by the mover. Honorable members, I will put the question that third schedule, item 1 and 1A, be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Item 2A.
Honorable members, I propose a question that that schedule, item 2A, be part of the bill. We have an amendment by the chair as well.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that item 2A of Schedule 3 be amended, the third schedule be amended as proposed on the order paper. Honorable Chair and honorable members, we'd like to delete this particular provision which states that provided this provision shall apply to the income earned from 25th April 2020, we'd like to go back to as it was in the tax laws amendment of April, so that it applies to income in this year, financial reporting year of 2020, and is not necessarily put at that date. That will then create confusion. This is an amendment that is agreed upon with the National Treasury. I beg to move.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the third schedule, item 2A, be amended as proposed by the mover. Honorable members, I will propose a question. I will put the question that third schedule, item 2A, be amended as proposed by the mover. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now we have another amendment, still under that item 2A, by Honorable Ishongwa.
Honorable Chair, my amendment, as I indicated, having consulted with the chair, was we were basically seeking to defer this to the end of June 2021 to allow, especially those people who are earning at least less than 50,000 shillings, to benefit from the increased lower taxes. However, if you look at the rates as they have been computed, and I've done my homework, Honorable Chair, because I had the Parliamentary Budget Office, one staffer there, to get me an analysis. And I think the same analysis has been shared with the committee. And of course, as Junaid says, I'm a senior accountant, so I'm very keen on these things to ensure that we do not punish those who are earning less. What this particular amendment, Honorable Chair, will do, most likely it will hurt those who are earning more. And it is a good principle in taxation to tax more those who have more and be able to spare those who have less. And therefore, because the tax relief is not being changed, therefore it is assuaging the loss that the low taxpayers bracket would have had, because we are not reverting to the pre-COVID times tax relief. The tax relief remains as it were. And therefore, those people that I sought to protect, Honorable Chair, will not be negatively affected, and therefore I wish to withdraw that particular amendment, and we carry the Chair's amendment.
Very well, very well. Yes, what is out of order, Honorable TJ Kajwang?
Mr. Speaker, sir, why is the member of Kikuyu not allowing us the opportunity and the fun to vote his amendments down? Why is he withdrawing? We are waiting to transact business.
Order. Well, there seems to be some chemistry between Honorable TJ Kajwang and Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah this afternoon. So that is dropped. That is dropped. What is out of order, Honorable Sheikh? What is out of order?
Mr. Speaker, I mean, Mheshimiwa Chair, you know, Mheshimiwa Ichung'wah was a former chairman of the Budget and Appropriation Committee. He's a very serious man and a senior accountant in this country with CPA-K, Mr. Chair. He only misbehaves when he's outside Parliament. But when he's inside here, he's a very gentleman. So let him keep on withdrawing all those amendments. Yeah.
Honourable members, I'll put the question that that schedule item 2A as amended be part of the bill. With as many as of that opinion say aye. With as many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Item 5D1.
Honourable members, I propose a question that the third schedule, item 5D1, be part of the bill. There is no amendment to that. I therefore put the question that the third schedule, item 5D1, be part of the bill. With as many as of that opinion say aye. With as many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Item 5D2.
Honourable members, I propose a question that the third schedule, item 5D2, be part of the bill. We have an amendment by Honourable Chairperson.
Honourable Chair, I beg to move that item 5D2 be amended as proposed in the order paper. Honourable Chair, it has the same effect of changing of bands as the earlier amendments that I had moved. So I beg to move. The effect is the same. Just bands, yeah.
Honourable members, I propose a question that that schedule, item 5D2, be amended as proposed by the mover. I will put the question that that schedule, item 5D2, be amended as proposed by the mover. With as many as of that opinion say aye. With as many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Item 5D3.
Honourable Minority Leader, we are near there. Honourable members, I propose a question that that schedule, item 5D3, be amended as proposed in the bill. Honourable Chair, you have an amendment.
Yes, Honourable Chair, I beg to move that the following new amendment be proposed after Amendment 5D2, and this is on those withdrawing pensions. Those withdrawing so I beg to move that we delete the words 25 and substitute with the word 30. So it's just in the spirit of harmonizing with the rest of the taxes. I beg to move.
Honourable members, I propose a question that that schedule item 5D3 be amended as proposed by the mover. I put the question that that schedule item 5D3 be amended as proposed by the mover. With as many as of that opinion say aye. With as many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I'll put the global question. I now put the question that the provisions, the provisions relating to the third schedule, as amended, be part of the bill. I will put the question that the provisions relating to the third schedule, as amended, be part of the bill. With as many as of that opinion say aye. With as many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I will put the global question now and the income tax. Honourable members, I will now put the question that the provisions relating to the Income Tax Act, as amended, be part of the bill. I will put the question that the provisions relating to the Income Tax Act, as amended, be part of the bill. With as many as of that opinion say aye. With as many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honourable members, we are done with the Income Tax Act. The next one is on the Value Added Tax Act 2013.
provisions relating to the Value-Added Tax Act 2013, number 35 of 2013, section 17.
Honorable members, I propose a question that section 17 of the Value-Added Tax Act 2013 be amended. Honorable John Kiarie, you are actually proposing a deletion. Honorable Kiarie, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And indeed, I was proposing a deletion to this amendment to section 17. And Mr. Speaker, the reason why I was proposing this deletion is because the proposed amendment in the bill that is meant to allow a registered person who is a manufacturer to make a deduction for input tax with respect to taxable supplies made to an official aid-funded project, Mr. Speaker, I believe is a matter that can be dealt administratively. However, Mr. Speaker, the other reason that I was proposing for the deletion of this amendment is because in the report that we received from the committee, Mr. Speaker, we have some minutes from the committee, Mr. Speaker, and in these minutes, Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Kiarie, what is out of order? Honorable Bandi. Get the mic, give him the mic. Use the dispatch box, Honorable Badi, to save time. Order, Honorable Badi, we need to be clear that you are on record.
Hello?
Am I on record?
Just check.
Mr. Chair,
Honorable Kerry, just hold. Honorable Badi is on his feet.
Mr. Chairman, if it's withdrawing, why all these stories? There's a bit of telling us too many stories. You either withdraw or you move. The idea of telling us stories like in a marathon.
Order.
No time to listen to all those things.
Honorable Badi. Honorable Kerry is moving. He could be withdrawing, but I'm sure he doesn't want to stand and just say he has withdrawn. Yes. He must have one or two sentences. But Honorable Kerry, I'm sure you can see the mood of the House. Honorable Kerry.
Mr. Speaker, I do believe that no one holds brief for me, not even the leader of majority. And I cannot be gagged, Mr. Speaker, especially by an individual who enjoys a lot of airtime on the floor of this House, Mr. Speaker. My point was, even in this report that we got from the committee, there is a recommendation by Treasury itself saying that by putting this amendment, Mr. Speaker, we shall be losing close to 12.6 billion Kenya shillings that would have gone to the exchequer, Mr. Speaker. However, I had a discussion over lunch with the Honorable Chair of this committee, and I was also able to have a discussion with the former Minister of Finance, who does understand these matters very well. And I was able to understand that our people who are hustlers stand to benefit, Mr. Speaker, if we can allow for exemption of these taxes, Mr. Speaker. And it is only for that reason, Mr. Speaker, believing that the hustlers in this nation shall be able to benefit from this exemption, that I withdraw this amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Very well.
However, Mr. Speaker, I do believe it is well within my right, Mr. Speaker, to also prosecute my point. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Order members, if the member has withdrawn, it is withdrawn, and we cannot engage on it. And all the members, he has withdrawn, so there is nothing to engage on. It is withdrawn. Therefore, honorable members, I'll put the question that section 17 be part of the bill. With as many as all of that opinion say aye. With as many as all of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Honorable members, I propose a question that clause 2 be part of the bill. There is no amendment to that. I therefore put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. Whereas I will put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. There is no amendment to that. I therefore put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Yes, honorable members, before we get to the next bill, it's good to finalize that. A mover of the bill.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Tax Laws Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Honorable members, I will put the question which is that the committee do report to the House's consideration of the Tax Laws Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020, and its approval thereof with amendments. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, we shall now transit to the next bill. We shall have a transition of the team here. So, a few seconds. Okay, honorable members, we shall get to the anti-doping amendment bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020.
Clause 3, Clause 4, Clause 5, Clause 6, Clause 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clauses 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 be part of the bill. There are no amendments to that. I will therefore put the question that clauses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. We have no amendment. I therefore put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. I put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. And no amendment. I therefore put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, we are done with the anti-doping bill. Mover of the bill. Mover of the bill must be majority leader.
Yeah. Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020, and its approval thereof without amendments.
Honorable members, I put the question which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020, and its approval thereof without amendments. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order. Order, members. I know these are very exciting times, but this is the work that we do for the people of Kenya, and I'm grateful to all of you for the time that you have put in. We will complete this work. I'll call upon the chairperson on the tax laws amendment number 2 bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the tax laws amendment number 2 bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020, and approved the same with amendments.
The mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also request Honorable Ndirango Waihenya to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Waihenya.
I second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable members, I then propose the question which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Is it the mood of the House that we put the question? Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I call upon the mover for third reading.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Tax Laws Amendment Bill number 2, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020, be now read a third time. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the members who have very diligently contributed and supported and taken this path to be able to move our economy forward. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request Honorable Waihenya, my Vice Chair, to second.
The Honorable Waihenya.
I second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable members, the Honorable Ishunga. Yeah, just hold on, the Honorable Ishunga. I'll give you. Very well. Thank you, the Honorable Mbadi. I think we have become a little rusty. I propose the question, which is that the Tax Laws Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020 be now read a third time. The Honorable Ishunga had already given you an opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, you know, the Honorable TJ Kajwang was asking what is the chemistry between myself, Honorable Junet, and the Chair of Finance this afternoon, Honorable Speaker. But the Honorable Junet understands and the Chair understands that what we have effectively done with the amendment that we have done, especially on the tax laws, Honorable Speaker, this afternoon, we have exempted from minimum tax, Honorable Speaker, those people who are trading or importing, processing, or selling products or services that are controlled pricing by government. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, when we said we sought to protect consumers, Honorable Speaker, we do not expect from tomorrow anybody to start increasing the prices of fuel, the price of cooking gas, therefore affecting Kenyans at a time they are suffering under this pandemic, Honorable Speaker. And that is a chemistry, the newfound chemistry that you found between me and Honorable Nyasuna Wanga in protecting the consumers in Kenya. Because it is those consumers who have sent us to this House, Honorable Speaker, to speak and protect them, Honorable Speaker. And I support, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable TJ.
Mr. Speaker, even as a member for Kikuyu is talking about chemistry, you should know that there is something called isotopes. In other words, you could be chemically the same, but different at the same time. Mr. Speaker, you know, when everybody speaks about, give the question, we avoid some, we do not understand some of the procedures and rules of this House. Some of us who are not spending a lot of time in the third reading, you should know that this is the space that you can also contribute and get your bill to be understood. So this thing about put the question, if your constituents were watching you, they may think that you are tired. And you should now give space for other people who have time to be able to look at these bills properly. Mr. Speaker, what I want to say, although we have talked about minimum taxes, but you can see we have put a lot of pressure on the households. Because right now, we have increased the taxation, the minimum taxation on wives. Did you see that? Yes, wives. No, wives. Wives would now pay 10%, for example, more than what they were doing. In other words, there will be pressure at home. Yes, you won't be surprised if there will be divorce and very messy divorce because of the pressure that we are going to see, Mr. Speaker. So that, Mr. Speaker, we now ask the chair.
The Honorable TJ Kajwang, just hold on. Your whip seems to have a point of order. The Honorable Sheikh, what's out of order? Just hold on, the Honorable TJ.
Mr. Speaker, I have been here the whole of this afternoon, and I respect the senior counsel, our Chief Justice, Honorable TJ Kajwang. Mr. Speaker, the bill that has just passed here, that we are on the third reading, where have you seen where wives are written, Mr. Speaker? Wives, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, and of all things, why is TJ being paid by taxes on wives, Mr. Speaker? Does it mean that the numbers are too many, or what is it, Mr. Speaker? Can you share with the House why he's been paid by the taxes on his wives, Mr. Speaker?
The Honorable Unit, I can tell you for free that the Honorable TJ Kajwang is passionate about women. So let him just speak.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the leader of majority knows it escaped you. But while we were talking about minimum tax, in the subsequent schedule, there was wives and percentage of taxation on wives and wives' employment. So you didn't know, but for you who is earning and your wife is also earning, you will now see your gross, the net that you are supposed to bring home will reduce because your wife will be taxed more. Anyway, the only thing which you want to say, because anyway, at the end of the day, the member for Oma Bay Town tells me that sometimes you don't see the money for the women. But even when they are taxed, and even if you don't see them, they spend them on issues that if you are supposed to, to meet. The tax relief that you are talking about, the disposable sum in your hands would have not been there were the woman not be taxed. So, Mr. Chairman, what I'm saying, so that we end this debate, it's a good thing. But the chair of the committee, instead of raising your hand on a point of order, go and see how we can harmonize the homes so that wives cannot be taxed in the manner in which you have proposed. And discuss this with your committee and discuss this with your cabinet secretary so that you can give us some relief and homes, reliefs at home in terms of this taxation. The last thing as I sit down, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, I think it is a good thing we have done. We have given Kenyans some hope. We can collect a few billions which we can use on school fees, and we can use what I want to be done. Can some money be found to be paid to the doctors? Can somebody address doctors' issues? Can somebody promise them? Can somebody even go to commercial banks and ask for some money? Because if this thing happens the way it is, and doctors are out there quarreling, and they are not, you know, this COVID thing, you are just bringing it down because it has not come to you. The day it will come to you, you will want all these doctors to be paid. Mr. Speaker, sir, that is very passionate in my heart. Can some money be found?
Very well.
Or can some discussions be made with these doctors so that they don't have to riot the way they are rioting?
Very well, the Honorable TJ. We'll have leader of majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to just take this opportunity to thank the members for the manner in which we've gone through this bill, and especially the Chair of Finance. I know they've been discussing as late as last night, as of this morning, in terms of to bring and negotiate for the better of the Kenyan people. And what we have passed today, or we are about to conclude through the third reading, is something that is good for this country. It's a win-win for Treasury and a win for the people of Kenya. And just to reassure the Honorable Kajwang that wives will not pay any more tax. Previously, the wife of the income used to be aggregated together with the income of the husband or the spouse. And hence, the amount will then go to the higher band, right? And it used to be taxed more because you are deemed to be family income. And you would be entitled to a family relief. But then what happened is everyone goes to earn in their own individual capacity. And the two were separated. So the husband's income and the wife's income are taxed as individuals. And each gets their full relief. So even if you have 10 wives, they are all individual taxpayers. So if you really want to increase your domestic GDP, yeah, you can invest in many, and you spread the tax.
Leader of majority,
but that is
you are addressing the speaker, not the Honorable TJ.
No, if Honorable Kajwang wants to increase his domestic GDP through tax avoidance by marrying many women and they all get the individual reliefs, he's at liberty to do that. But the good thing is that nobody is going to lose, and I just wanted to ensure that we don't leave here with the feeling that the spouses will lose because of this. In fact, everyone is a gainer. The other thing I just want to say, and I think it's good we put this on record, there is some elections on the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union. There's some elections that are forthcoming in the next 2 months. And a lot of this hype you're finding on the doctor's pay and everything else is tied to that election. No. There isn't. No.
The honorable leader of majority. The honorable leader of majority.
Honorable Speaker.
The honorable leader of majority.
Honorable Speaker.
The honorable
Can you protect me? Can you protect me?
That is not the way to seek the attention of the speaker.
Can you protect me from the
we
issue?
must sit down. The honorable
issue is
the honorable leader of majority. They are out of order.
The Treasury
has out of order. The honorable leader of majority.
Okay. I will withdraw that and confine myself. Let me confine myself
to the business that is before the House. The honorable Omboko, what is out of order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have a lot of respect for the leader, and the leader is the spokesman of this House.
And this house is depended upon by every Kenyan, and including the doctors and nurses and Kenyans who are dying because of COVID. And currently, as we speak in this house, we are actually facing the cameras. Would it be in order, honestly, for the leader who speaks for this house to just equate the fact that the doctors are on strike and the nurses to a simple election that is going on? The truth is that
the Honorable Mboko,
we are not doing very well.
The Honorable Mboko.
Yes.
Yes, I sympathize with your sentiment, but the leader of majority had already withdrawn that.
Oh, thank you. I was not aware, but indeed he needs to withdraw as our spokesman.
No, he has.
That we can equate
Honorable members,
the
let us
suffering we
transact
have
business.
to the simple elections. Thank you.
Honorable members, allow me then. Honorable members, allow me to put the question now. Having confirmed that we have the requisite quorum in the House for purposes of making a decision, I therefore put the question, which is that the Tax Laws Amendment Number 2, Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020 be now read a third time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to make amendment to tax-related laws.
Honorable members, we're now moving to the next bill, but before I do that, I just want to thank the Honorable Dwele for striking the balance which brought the House to do the work that it has done with the tax laws this afternoon. That was good leadership from your part. We'll now move to the next report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020, and call on the chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020, and approved the same without amendments.
The mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also would request the Honorable Chair of Sports and Working Order to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Chairperson of Sports Committee.
Mr. Speaker, I thank all the members of this House who have supported this anti-doping bill. Mr. Speaker, now it is clear that Kenyans will compete freely, regionally, internationally, and even in the continental. Mr. Speaker, now Kenyans, young athletes, existing and upcoming, have a chance to compete in a fair environment that is controlled. Mr. Speaker, I thank the All House for passing this bill without any amendment. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, the honorable members. Yes. I propose the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. But I now put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now call upon for third reading on the move of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020, be now read at that time. And Honorable Speaker, as we do this, I believe we've done the best for our athletes, and I wish them the very best in the forthcoming Olympics, and for those who will be going to all the sporting activities between now and the next 5 years, knowing that this House is behind them. With those, I beg to move and request Honorable Junet to second.
Honorable Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I second, but this House of Record, Mr. Speaker, I heard Honorable Mboko Milemba saying that the majority leader is the spokesman of the House. We are not in a union, Mr. Speaker. We are not in COPED. Neither are we in ODM party or Jubilee party. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I second.
Honorable members, allow me to propose the question, which is that the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020 be now read a third time. I will allow a few comments from the members. Is it the mood of the House? Honorable members, just because I have a lot of respect for what the Honorable Dwale did this afternoon, I will allow him to have a shout on this. Then I will put the question.
Chair, because from extension of time, we are coming back to reduction of time. Now with the reduction of time, let us allow a few people to speak. Chair, I think this anti-doping bill was done, I think, in the 11th Parliament, if I'm not wrong. What the chairman and government is trying to do is try to improve it. But Chair, if you allow me, now that we have agreed, just to digress, now that we have agreed to pass the tax laws, I really want to ask the National Treasury now to make a commitment in making sure, in line with the President's address here from that chair, on members of Parliament to support in the reopening of schools, both infrastructure and bursary. We really want the Minister of Finance to commit to send more money to the Constituency Development Fund Kitty, so that when the schools open in January, we are at least able to pay school fees and we're able to participate with the government in the reconstruction of the infrastructure. But I'm sure for the anti-doping, this is key to our athletes. It's key to our sportsmen and women. And I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, that Honorable TJ, my advice to you is that don't be deterred. Marry more, and the minimum tax is what you declare. You can declare, you can either do avoidance of tax or you can do tax evasion. And if you do tax evasion, you'll be arrested. But I think the best thing is you do tax avoidance. And there are serious legal counsel here. And Honorable Kaluma will help you. Yeah, tax avoidance. But please make sure you marry more. We want more people in Kenya. I support.
Honorable members, order. I have confirmed that we have the requisite quorum in the House for purposes of making a decision. I therefore put the question, which is that the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020 be now read a third time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Anti-Doping Act to comply with the 2021 World Anti-Doping Code to put in place an enhanced result management system for anti-doping rule violations and for connected purposes.
Honorable members, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the work that you have done for the people of Kenya for the whole of this year, and especially, particularly today, for the sacrifice that you have made for your nation. This is the work that the people elected you to do, and I just want to wish you a good time during the holidays, although the times are bad. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and stay alive. Honorable members, thank you. Honorable members, allow me then to adjourn the House, and the time being 5 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Tuesday, 9th February 2021 at 2:30 p.m.
Procedural motion on the reduction of publication period for specified bills, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period, this is for business laws, from 14 to 8 days. Another motion that has been lined up for debate in this morning session is the approval of agreement for the avoidance of double taxation between Kenya and Mauritius. It is a motion by the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Finance, as well as Matters National Planning. The last motion will be by the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Defense and Matters Foreign Relations. This is on the approval of the accession of the African Charter. This is on matters democracy and elections, as well as governance. The bills lined up to be tabled for the first time is a bill by Honorable Martin Peter Owino. The bill is about the Community Health Workers, National Assembly's Bill number 30 of 2020. The Institute of Social Work Professionals Bill number 2020, sponsored by Honorable Joshua Kimilu, is also lined up for tabling before this morning session. The bill provides for the establishment of the Council of Institute, comprised of 9 members, with the Executive Director being an ex-officio. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Justin Muturi, has just stepped into the chamber. I'll now hand you over for the live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing. Good morning.
Members, let us pray. Almighty God, who in wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests were committed to our church. Amen. Well, honour members, I'm informed that we still don't have quorum. May the bell be rung, quorum bell be rung.
The Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Justin Muturi, has just ordered that the bell be rung. This is to allow for more members to access the chamber. As it stands, the House does not have the requisite number to allow for it to proceed with the business of the day. Other bills lined up for tabling before the House this morning session is the Institute of Social Work Professionals Bill 2020.
Is he still in the House? surely, you know, sometimes you look with appreciation some roles performed by some of you. I don't want to say who particularly. Because as you know, you will be already out there looking for members. Now, maybe somebody could look for the Honorable Junet and the Honorable Dr. Eseli Semiu and remind them that they are whips. I see the Honorable Sankok wants to go and look for them.
The proceedings of the House are at a standstill right now. This is to allow for more members to access the chamber, owing to the fact that the business of the House cannot commence without the quorum having been attained. The Public Debt Management Authority Bill 2020 has also been lined up for tabling. And the principal object of that bill is to establish the Public Debt Management Authority as an independent body to manage the public debt in the country, at both levels of this Kenyan government. And the country's debt is rising at an alarming level. And the proposal of the bill says that there is need to manage the same to protect current and future generation. The authority shall succeed the Public Debt Management Office, currently domiciled at the National Treasury. The bill also sets out the conditions to be fulfilled before the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury or the County Executive Member for Finance raises a loan, issues security or guarantees loans. The national government in this particular proposal may only borrow money for the budget as approved by Parliament and the allocations for loans approved by the House. In addition, the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury or the County Executive Member for Finance must obtain the concurrence of the authority before borrowing money. The Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill 2020, sponsored by Honorable Richard Tongi, seeks to amend various provisions of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act number 33 of 2015 on reservations and preferences. The Alcoholic Drinks Control Bill, a bill sponsored by Honorable Hundai Constituency Danson Mashako, seeks to amend the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act number 10 of 2010. This is to ensure that packaging of alcoholic drinks is in quantities not below 750 milliliters. According to the MP, this will curb the menace of excessive drinkings occasioned by the sale of very low packaged quantities of alcoholic drinks, as well as making it inaccessible to the youth. The Alcoholic Drinks Bill further seeks to provide a depository fund for the purchase of alcoholic drinks in glass bottles. According to the Honourable Member, this will boost recycling of glass bottles and inevitably reduce environmental pollution by cutting waste. The Information Communication Technologies Practitioners Bill, a bill by nominated MP Godfrey Osotsi, has also been lined up for tabling this morning session, and the bill seeks to establish a legal framework for the training matters registration as well as licensing and standards of information communications technologies, ICT, and in particular, the quorum has been attained and allow handover for the live broadcast.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
The member, is it a member for Kisii? If you could just, you can consult the member you're consulting. Take a seat, it is a lot more comfortable. Is it the member for Kisii or is it? A member for Homa Bay? Problems with the masks. Honourable members, I wish to welcome you to today's special sitting of the House, which has been convened pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 29 and duly gazetted via Kenya Gazette Notice number 10690 of 16th of December 2020. The business to be transacted is as published in the Gazette. The notification of the special sittings was also made to all members by the Clerk of the National Assembly in the usual manner, including publication in 2 newspapers of national circulation. Having said that, honourable members, with regard to the processing of priority bills and statutory instruments during the recess period, you will recall that on the 3rd of December 2020, this House ordered as follows. 1. Should a bill be published during the recess period, or a published bill becomes due for first reading during the period, the Speaker shall, upon lapse of at least 3 days following the publication of the bill and following a determination that such bill is of priority, forthwith refer such bill to the relevant committee for consideration pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 127, which deals with the committee of bills to committees and public participation. And upon the resumption of the House, cause the bill to be read the first time, and the second reading may be taken forthwith, or on such other day as the House Business Committee may determine. Number 2, should any statutory instrument be transmitted for tabling before the House during the recess period, the Speaker shall, following a determination that the statutory instruments is of priority, forthwith refer the statutory instrument to the relevant committee for consideration and cause the statutory instrument to be tabled in the House at its next sitting in accordance with the provisions of Section 11 of the Statutory Instruments Act number 3 of 2013. Honourable members, in furtherance to this order of the House, I wish to report as follows. 1. The Tax Laws Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020, was published on November 27, 2020, and determined to be of priority. I therefore refer the bill to the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning for consideration. The committee is expected to table its report this morning to pave way for the consideration of the bill in other stages later in this sitting and during the afternoon sitting. Number 2, the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2020, and this must be a mistake, was published on 7th of December 2020, and having determined it to be a priority bill, I refer the same to the Departmental Committee on Sports, Culture and Tourism for consideration. I also expect the committee to table its report this morning to pave way for consideration of the bill in other stages. And 3, the Value-Added Tax Amendment of the Rate of Tax Order number 2020, being legal notice number 206 of 2020, was submitted by the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Planning for tabling and consideration by the National Assembly. Having determined the statutory instrument to be of priority, I referred it to the Committee on Delegated Legislation for consideration. I also expect the committee to table its report in the House today morning so as to inform the consideration of the statutory instrument later in the day in keeping with the requirements of the law. The House is therefore accordingly informed and guided. I thank you, my members. Sorry, maybe those members who are making their way in. The member who is in motion, can you come to some kind of halt? Honourable members, on a sad note, I wish to inform you that I did notify members of the National Assembly and the entire parliamentary fraternity of the untimely passing on of the member for Kabuchai constituency, the Honourable James Lusweti Mukwe, MP, on the 4th of December 2020. Upon receiving the sudden news of the death of the member, I constituted an ad hoc committee under the chairmanship of the member for Kwanza constituency, the Honourable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, MP, to assist the family with funeral and related arrangements on behalf of the National Assembly, in line with the Parliamentary Service Commission bereavement policy. Honourable members, the late Honourable Lusweti made his first attempt into elective national politics as a Fond Kenya youth winger in the mid-90s, and in 2002, he successfully vied for and won a seat of councillor for Chwele Ward in the then Bungoma County Council, a position to which he was re-elected in 2007 general elections. During his tenure as a councillor, the Honourable Lusweti earned the trust of his fellow councillors and got elected as a chairman for Bungoma County Council in 2004, a position he held until 2007. The late Honourable Lusweti was known for his servant leadership approach as a councillor and the chairman of Bungoma County Council, which catapulted him to the National Assembly when he successfully vying for the Kabuchai and won the Kabuchai constituency parliamentary seat on a Ford Kenya party ticket in 2013. He was re-elected in 2017 and continued to diligently serve the people until his untimely death on the 4th of December 2020. The parliamentary community knew him as a humble, sociable, and hardworking person. Until his death, he actively served as a member of the Select Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunities, and before then, he served as a member of the Select Committee on National Government Constituencies Development Fund and the Departmental Committees on Trade, Industry, and Cooperatives in the 12th Parliament, and in the Budget and Appropriations Committee and the Departmental Committee on Transport, Public Works, and Housing in the 11th Parliament. We will all remember the late Honourable Lusweti for his passionate advocacy for the education, rights of children, and entrenchment of sound fiscal management of public funds allocated to ensure universal access to basic education. Honourable members, I take this opportunity to sincerely thank the ad hoc committee led by the member for Kwanza, the Honourable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, and all members and the entire parliamentary fraternity for the support extended to his family during the funeral of our departed colleague who was interred at his home in Chwele location, Kabuchai constituency, on Saturday, December 19th, 2020. Our members, on behalf of all members and staff of the National Assembly, and indeed on my own behalf, I once again convey the heartfelt condolences of the National Assembly and that of the entire parliamentary fraternity to the family of the late Honourable James Mukwe Lusweti, his relatives, friends, and the people of Kabuchai constituency. Honourable members, in tribute and honor to our departed colleague, the late Honourable James Mukwe Lusweti, MP, I request that we all rise in our places and observe a moment of silence. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Honorable Amalo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I was one of the members of the ad hoc committee, and on the behalf of the chairman of the ad hoc committee, I also want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, in a big way for the big support that you gave this committee. And also, more importantly, Mr. Speaker, to thank the honorable members of the National Assembly. When we buried the late Mukwe over the weekend, Mr. Speaker, the number was overwhelming. We had members of parliament in excess of 40. And this is the time, Mr. Speaker, we are aware that there was another big funeral in Eastern Province of the late John Nyaga. So I want to thank the honorable members. At a time like this, members have been on the front line because, Mr. Speaker, you'll never know what will happen tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, we are all of us going. Just like William Shakespeare says, that this world is a stage, and we are here like actors. We are acting and will eventually exit. Honorable Mukwe had exited, and those of you know him, he was a very humble man, Mr. Speaker. In many occasions, you'll never bother to see or to sit in front of a member of parliament. He was very humble. And during tea break, you'll see him cutting across, liaising with people, whether they are Tanga, whether Keleweke, whether it's ODM or whatever, Mr. Speaker. And actually, this is the spirit that honorable members should borrow from. We can, Mr. Speaker, we can differ ideologically, but the friendship of the House must be maintained, Mr. Speaker. And the people of Kapchai, Mr. Speaker, they were very friendly. People thought chaos will be there. Mr. Speaker, there were no chaos. Everything was in control, apart from some honorable members who had bad motives. When they were called to eulogize, they refused because the ground could not allow them, Mr. Speaker. So we must be each brother's keeper. And Mr. Speaker, you're well represented ably by Honorable Wangwe. Honorable Wangwe, we really want to thank you. You've taken over as a very good whip. When this house didn't have a quorum, you're the only whip was in the house. Lucky enough, Honorable Seli has just entered. I think it's still picking up. I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Bukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleague to pay tribute to our departed colleague, the Honorable Mukwe, member for Kabuchai. And on behalf of the member for Kwanza, who is my neighbor, Honorable Ferdinand Onyonyi, I want to also join. Honorable Ferdinand called me this morning. He was not able to make it to Nairobi because he was also, once after the function, he's resting a bit at home and also looking at the issues pertaining to his constituency. And being my neighbor, he told me to thank the ad hoc committee, and more so the Speaker and your office, Honorable Speaker, for the support which you gave the ad hoc committee in giving a decent send-off to our departed colleague, the Honorable Mukwe. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the people of Endebess and Trans-Nzoia, Bungoma and Kabuchai is our neighboring, and therefore we really feel the loss of our brother. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Honorable Mutua Barasa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also want to express my appreciation to the leadership of his House that put in place everything necessary to ensure that my neighbor and my colleague, Honorable James Luswet Mukwe, is given a befitting send-off, for sure. And I am convinced that wherever he is resting in peace. I thank you.
Nominee 001.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Also, to send to really thank you, Honorable Speaker, first of all, for you being represented by Honorable Wangwe, our whip, Honorable Speaker. The function was very well attended by members of this House, Honorable Speaker, and we just want to reassure the family that we are with them, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank specifically His Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto, who had to attend both a funeral, even though they are more than 700 kilometers apart, but he made sure that he is always with us, with the members of this House, so that he mourned with us. That day, he was very busy. He also flew all the way to Narok after that particular burial. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We want to reassure the family on behalf of the 6.5 million Kenyans I represent this House that we are with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also wish to join my colleagues in extending my condolences and those of my constituents of Ugunja to the family and friends of the late colleague, Honorable James Lusweti. I happen to have had a history with Honorable Lusweti in my formative years. When I worked in Western Kenya as a manager for BAT, I lived in his constituency, which was then the Greater Sirisia. And indeed, I opened an operation zone in a place called Mwea, which is within his Kabuchai constituency. And James Lusweti was a true gentleman, we must admit. He used to sit somewhere here, even in the last parliament. He was a very, very humble legislator who had friends across the board. He didn't like controversy at all, okay? Even those days when we used to be militant and we were fighting all over here, James Lusweti was very, very, very well composed, and he could not actually raise a finger, okay? So we joined the family and friends really in passing these condolences, and knowing fully well that all of us are heading in that direction. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Ainapkoi.
Mr. Speaker, sir, permit me to convey my heartfelt sorrow for our colleague who passed on, the late Honorable James Luswete Makwe. He was indeed a distinct patriot. He was a true Kenyan. Nevertheless, he believed in this country. I want to convey my heartfelt congratulations to you, our Speaker, who happens to be a gentle giant. You deposited in your own heart Honorable James Kagwe. So, Honorable Speaker, you are a great man. We love you. May, and the people of Ainapkoi constituency, I convey their heartfelt sorrow on behalf of Ainapkoi constituency and Uasin Gishu County. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and may God rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you, and amen.
Member for Funyula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the people of Funyula and my own behalf, I send my sincere condolences to the family of my former colleague, the MP for Kabuchai. I met Honorable Lusweti when I joined Parliament, and we served with him in the same Committee of Trade, Industry and Cooperative. And indeed, he amazed me at his humility. He amazed me at his story to come here, and really demonstrated that you can rise from a councillor and become a decent man to sit in the August House. We also happen to have to share with him the same fund accounts manager, and occasionally we consulted quite often in respect of matters relating to our two constituencies, because we had to find a schedule to share the fund manager. On my behalf, again, I send my sincere condolences, and I pray the family gain strength in these times of grief. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Nabaholo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me first and foremost to really thank you in two fronts, Honorable Speaker. First, as the chairman of Parliamentary Service Commission, where you really stood firm, and as the employer of the late James Mukwe, you really gave him what he really required at his time of need. Both when he was alive, Honorable Speaker, the family confirmed that you really stepped in
and supported the medical bills that James Mukwe went through. But God loved him most. He took him. And upon even that takeover, Honorable Speaker, you stood with the family as the employer and really supported the family for the last benefits and last end of Honorable Speaker. They really thought that when I come, I pass their regards to you as the chair. Second, Honorable Speaker, allow me to thank you as the Speaker of the National Assembly. You sent me to represent you, and I want to believe that I did the best, since everyone was happy with what your comments and how you reported on the behavior and what the aspirations of the late Honorable James Mukwe wanted his people to be. They really said they are happy, and on my own behalf and on behalf of the people of Navajo, allow me also to send a message of condolence to the family of the late Mukwe. Honorable Speaker, I joined in the 11th Parliament, where we served with Honorable Mukwe in the Committee on Transport. And in the 12th Parliament, Honorable Speaker, we also happened again to meet and serve in the Committee of NGCDF. He was a very humble man. And one of the field visits, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Mukwe did a very nice drama when we went with the Vice Chair for the Committee on CDF. Indeed, he was a strong man. No wonder he was given the 10th position, top 10, in the analysis that came, Honorable Speaker. He was a very astute member, Honorable Speaker, such that when he could stand to talk to his people and enumerate the programs he has, they were very, very eloquently played, Honorable Speaker. With that, Honorable Speaker, I want to pray and ask God to rest his soul in eternity.
Member for Mavoko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, indeed, the death of Honorable James Lusweti reminds me how cruel death is. It depicts the finest and the most beautiful flower in the garden. Mr. Speaker, the humility of the late member is unmatched. Honorable Speaker, I met Lusweti in 2008 when he was the chairman of Mungoma and was the mayor of Mavoko. He was my member at Algak. I was their secretary. And Mr. Speaker, he gave a lot of wisdom, even during those days. Later, little did I know that I'll meet him in Parliament again. And Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm to this House, yes, indeed, we've lost a very special, important person. Mr. Speaker, too, I thank you. How you've been of service to this House, to these honorable members. You've stood with us during good and bad times. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind this House to remember the people of Machakos. We lost the senator of Machakos. In fact, he's being laid to rest today. And I'm here courtesy because of the anti-doping bill. Mr. Speaker, if I'm missing that funeral, I request all these members today, in memory and helping me, mourn the senator to pass this bill that will help Kenyans athletes go to Olympics. Mr. Speaker, those few remarks, I pass my condolences to the family, and may God rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you very much.
Member from where?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also want to join my colleagues in condoling with the family of Honorable Sweti. Mr. Speaker, I really didn't know him much, but the few times we interacted, I could see a gentleman who has no boundaries of politics, a gentleman who has no tribal boundaries, a gentleman you could sit and talk like Kenyans and not people from different parts of this country, Mr. Speaker. And for that reason, I want to say I miss him as a person whom I borrowed a lot whenever we sat down to have a cup of tea. Mr. Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues in really thanking you for the leadership that you have provided, especially during times of hardship like when we lose our colleagues, Mr. Speaker. You have been there, moving very fast in forming the ad hoc committees and guiding them and providing the necessary resources so that the families can have a lesser burden in preparing to give their deceased a decent send-offs, Mr. Speaker. For that reason, I really want to thank you, and I hope and believe that our colleague will rest in peace will rest in peace in the internal world, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Member for Makueni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was personally known to Honorable Lusweti. One time, he had a difficult election petition, which went all the way to Supreme Court, and he was victorious. Mr. Speaker, I also met Honorable Lusweti in the Committee of Trade, Industry, and Cooperatives, and we worked together very well. He was very humble, and was a good example of a Kenyan who cuts across all people in the nation and a symbol of unity. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of Makueni, I would like to share our condolences and condole with the family and the people of Kabuchai, and I hope that they are going to have another leader as good as Honorable Lusweti. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank you in the support you give to members of this House whenever they have challenges, and especially when you're arresting a member of Parliament is a very challenging issue to the constituencies and to the members of the member of Parliament, and you usually move very fast and give the necessary support so that they feel very comforted and the burden is lessened. So I really would like to thank you for that and for the support you have given members of this House. Mr. Speaker, although it's been very difficult and the country has lost a lot of people, at least you send a representative while you are at the funeral of our good friend Joe Nyaga, who was also a member of this House, and a member who believed in Mount Kenya East, Mr. Speaker, and I believe you will take up that mantle so that the people of Mount Kenya East know that they have another very good leader in you. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Tongaren.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I apologize for coming into the House late. Thank you for the chance to also eulogize with my colleagues over the departed James Lusweti Mukwe. James Lusweti Mukwe was among the 3 Fort Kenya elected MPs from Bungoma County with 9 constituencies. Mr. Speaker, you've heard everybody say about how humble he was and the humility he exhibited. Mr. Speaker, I would like people to know that humble and humility are not just words. It's a way of life. And James Lusweti Mukwe exhibited that because of his formative years. If you notice, Mr. Speaker, he was actually a Quaker like me. So is Alfred Sambu. So is Musalia Mudavadi. I think you can see the trait of humility, which is a Quaker tenant. It's not an event, it is a way of life. That one should not use their humble beginnings as a club, a big stick, to cajole, bamboozle, and intimidate their peers because of the humble background they came from. In the Quaker Church, we don't allow that. And James Lusweti Mukwe exhibited those tenets very well. In fact, Mr. Speaker, what you did with the Parliamentary Service Commission, the church will forever be grateful to you, because those kinds of bills would actually have bankrupted the family. But what you did with the Parliamentary Service Commission will forever be etched in our minds, and we shall always remember you for that kind of gratitude, that kind of extent of help that you gave to the family. Mr. Speaker, as we mourn Lusweti, we all need to ask ourselves, are we humble? Do we exhibit humility? Or are we always different? Because as leaders, if you want to be approachable, you need to exhibit those traits. Lusweti was an interesting MP. Every weekend, he was in his constituency. And his home was right next to the new coming up town of Chwele. So anybody could walk in and out as they pleased. He was always in touch with his people. He never feared whether he had money or he didn't. And that is a mark of a servant leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
For another member for Webuye West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me join my colleagues in eulogizing the late Mukwe Lusweti. And most importantly, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you as the chairman of Parliamentary Service Commission. At some point, when Lusweti was sick, his insurance expired, and the family was left wondering what next. You came in handy and extended his insurance. And as we mourn Lusweti today, The family is at peace because they have no bills, medical bills to pay. I want to thank you because I was also one of the members of the ad hoc committee, and surely you did a great job to us. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to correct that there was no member who had any hostile crowd there. I was the master of ceremony, and there was just miscommunication in the sign language. So it has been misconstrued by one of the members, and I thought it is important for me to correct that because it is on record. Thank you, sir.
Very well. This is soul rest in eternal peace. We'll move to the next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
There's no petition. Honorable Korir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a petition for variation of boundaries of Ngong Road Forest to excise thereof that 4 acres of the area of land upon which KMA Estate, Langata Gardens Estate, Langata View Estate, Shalom Estate, St. Mary's Hospital, Forest Edge View Estate, Langata Women Prison, the Police Dog Unit, Bomas of Kenya, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Wildlife Club of Kenya, and International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology are located pursuant to Section 34 of the Forest Conservation and Management Act number 34 of 2016. Hi, Nixon Korir, Member of Parliament, Langata Constituency. The undersigned, on behalf of the residents of Langata Constituency, Nairobi County, draw the attention of the House to the following. That on 30th June 2020, I presented to the House a petition on behalf of the residents of Sun Valley 1, 2, and 3, Royal Park Estate, Shalom Estate, Forest Edge View Estate, within Mugumwini Ward on alleged repossession of land in Langata constituency. That the petition was subsequently committed to the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources for its consideration pursuant to the Standing Order 227-1. That further, on 17th November 2020, the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources, having considered the petition, tabled a report pursuant to Standing Order 227-2, where it made various observations and recommendations. In particular, the committee recommended that the law relating to declaration that a forest shall cease to be a forest area with respect to the area of the land upon which KMA Estate, Langata Garden Estate, Langata View Estate, Shalom Estate, St. Mary's Hospital, Forest Edge View Estate, Langata Women Prison, the Police Dog Unit, Bomas of Kenya, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Wildlife Club of Kenya, and International Center of Physiology and Ecology should be complied with, and the law and the land should be excised pursuant to the provision of Section 34 of the Forest Conservation and Management Act number 34 of 2016 to support the realization of the national government Big Four agenda on housing and stop further encroachment of Ngong Forest through the practice of allocation and subsequent surrender of the land between government departments under paragraph 161 of the aforementioned report. That in view of the foregoing, the petition finds its basis on the report of the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources in seeking to implement the recommendation contained in its report tabled on 17th November 2020. That Section 34.1 of the Forest Conservation and Management Act number 34 of 2016 provide that any person may petition the National Assembly for the variation of boundaries of a public forest or the revocation of a registration of a public forest or a portion of a public forest. F, that we therefore seek to petition the House for the variation of the boundaries of the Ngong Road Forest pursuant to Section 34.1 of the Forest Conservation and Management Act 2016. That additionally, recognizing the requirement of Section 34.2 of the Forest Conservation and Management Act, we aver that the variation of the boundaries of the proposed area of Ngong Forest shall not endanger any rare, threatened, or endangered species, adversely affects its value as a water catchment area, prejudice biodiversity conservation, cultural site protection of the forest, or its use for education, recreation, health, or research purposes. That the residents have continuously engaged the Ministry of Environment and Forest and the Kenya Forest Services and never received any response that was satisfactory. That the matter presented in this petition is not pending before any court of law, constitutional or legal body. Therefore, your humble petitioner prays that the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources does recommend, pursuant to Section 34(1) of the Forest Conservation and Management Act, the variation of the boundaries of Ngong Road Forest to excise, therefore, the 34 acres of the land upon which Keme Estate, Langata Gardens Estate, Langata View Estate, Shalom Estate, St. Mary's Hospital, Forest Edge View, the Langata Women Prison, the Police Dog Unit, Bomas of Kenya, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Wildlife Club of Kenya, and International Center of Insect Physiology are located. That the House does direct the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Environment and Forestry to forthwith suspend any proposed action on the said 34 acres until the House considers this petition. That the House does direct the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Environment and Forestry to commence the actualization of paragraph 1 of the petitioner's prayers, including carrying out the independent environmental impact assessment and wide public consultation as required under Section 34(3) of the Forest Conservation and Management Act 2016. That upon the House approving the prayers contained in the paragraph 1, 2, and 3 the petition of this petition and any further recommendation, the House may direct that the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Environment and Forestry to submit a report to the House after every 30 days to appraise the House on the process of variation of the boundaries of the Ngong Road Forest. And finally, the prayer that the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources does make any other resolution that may be determined as appropriate. And your petitioners will ever pray. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You know, I'm not about to allow any comments because, as you know, this petition seems to follow another one, and it's just trying to actualize some of the recommendations of the other. And I think it would be fair that we just allow the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources to now proceed as prayed in the petition. So I know some of you are very, very passionate about this, not least, of course, the member for Seme, but you'll allow me not to allow you to make comments so that we don't conflict what is likely to be. I don't think the prayers are clear and they are straightforward. So let's refer the petition to the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources to make appropriate investigations, inquiries, and act as necessary. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020, morning sitting. 1, Memorandum on Economic Partnership Agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Number 2, legal notice number 206 of 2020 on the value-added tax amendment of the rates order of 2020 from the National Treasury. Number 3, the annual report for the year 2018-2019 for the East African Portland Cement PLC. Number 4, the performance audit report on installation and maintenance of road furniture by the Kenya National Highways Authority, the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, and the Kenya Rural Roads Authority. Number 5, the report of the Auditor General and financial statements on Ethics and Anti-Corruption Authority Commission, Staff House Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme for the year ended 30th of June 2020, and the certificates therein. Number 6, the reports of the Auditor General on financial statements in respect to the following institutions for the year ended 30th of June 2019, and certificates therein. And these are the State Department for Post-Training and Skills Development, Brand Kenya Board, National Humanitarian Fund, Government Press Fund, Land Settlement Fund, the National Environment Trust Fund, the Judicial Performance Improvement Project, which is IDA credit number 5181-KE, the Kenya Airport Authority, and lastly, the National Construction Authority. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 22nd December 2020. Report of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning on its consideration of the Tax Laws Amendment Number 2 Bill, the National Assembly Bill Number 48 of 2020. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Chairperson, Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. That is the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its recommendation of the value-added tax amendment of the rate of tax order 2020, legal notice number 26 of 2020.
Legal notice number 206.
Yes, indeed. Legal, I stand corrected. Legal notice number 206, not 26. Yeah. Thank you.
The Chairman, Departmental Committee on Sports, Culture and Tourism.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 22nd December 2020, this morning sitting. The report of the Departmental Committee on Sports, Culture and Tourism on its consideration of the Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2020. I thank you.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Kamket, and you notice that Honorable Kamket, I had not approved your report because I was still waiting to see the list of your members who approved the report, because it was lacking from the report which was submitted to me. But now I've been shown a piece of paper which has some names of your members and some inscription of signatures. Since I'm not IBC, I cannot be able to verify. But I will assume for the time being that that is the correct thing. Now you can give notice of your motion.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I indeed want to confirm to you that the signatures are the signatures of the members of the committee, and if there is a need for verification, I am sure we have qualified staff who will be able to do that, and the resources. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion: that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the value-added tax amendment of the rate of tax order 2020, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, December 22, 2020, and that pursuant to the provisions of Section 6 and 67 of the Value-Added Tax Act 2013, approves the value-added tax amendment of the rate of tax order 2020, published as legal notice number 206 of 2020.
Very well. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and motion, statements.
None. None. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, reduction of publication period of a specified bill.
Leader Majority.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Business Laws Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 50 of 2020, from 14 days to 8 days. Honorable Speaker, this is a procedural matter. I believe it was already covered by the motion that we approved at the point of adjourning. But now that we are here, and it's one of the bills where the 14 days have not matured, we might as well ratify it in the normal way. Whereas, of course, we are given authority that should a bill come, you then refer it to a committee, and then it will be read a first reading the next opportunity. Now, to allow it to be read with all the others, we just thought it to be neater for good order, just to have it, to seek the concurrence of the House that we reduce the publication period. It does not affect the processing of the bill because we just have a first read. That allows the public participation, and the debate on it will be when we next reconvene in February. So again, we are not shortening the period to process it any further today except the technical first reading with all the other bills that are going through the first reading, and then when we meet next, it will just move into second reading to save the House that small procedure. So again, I want to beg to move and ask our next party in these matters, the Honorable Adendwele, to second.
Honorable Dwele.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I second, I think this is just a procedural that we had a motion, and so that the committee of this House, Mr. Speaker, with your direction, might resume earlier than the House, somewhere in mid-January. So that this is just giving the committees, the relevant committee, to deal with this bill, do the public participation, and then by the time we are coming in February, then we will have an opportunity to dispense it off at the second reading and at the committee of the whole House. But Mr. Speaker, I think going further, I will advise maybe the leader of majority and the clerk that let us not only reduce publication period for only government bills. You know, now I'm on the other side. So I also want to speak for the backbenchers, because I'm also having a bill on in the pipeline. So I think as we reduce the publication period for government bills, let's also look at if there are any bills of private members which can also be read and get the same exemption going forward. I think doesn't harm. This is a presidential system of parliament, so that even the private members' bills can also be sent to the committees. But I think it's a very, very important bill. We had the Business Laws Amendment Bill, which has really helped the people of Kenya in terms of ease of doing business. I'm sure this bill is just to tighten up what we have left. So we really want to agree with the leader of majority on the procedure of exempting it from that 14 days to 8 days. I support. I second.
Member for Keses is trooping out. Now, members, I propose a question, which is that notwithstanding the provision of standing order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period for the Business Laws Amendment Bill number 2, National Assembly Bill number 50 of 2020 from 14 days to 8 days. Desire of the House, I put the question. I put the question that notwithstanding the provision of standing order 120, this House resolves to reduce the publication period for the Business Laws Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 50 of 2020 from 14 days to 8 days. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 9, motion. Approval of agreement for the avoidance of double taxation between Kenya and Mauritius. Question to be put.
Honour members, debate on this motion was concluded before the House went to recess, but question could not be put for the reason that the House did not quorate then. So I propose to put, I go for one to put the question, which is that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning on its consideration of the agreement for the avoidance of double taxation between the Government of the Republic of Kenya and the Government of the Republic of Mauritius, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8, Subsection 4 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, approves the agreement for the avoidance of double taxation between the Government of the Republic of Kenya and the Government of the Republic of Mauritius. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 10, motion. approval of the accession of the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance. Question to be put.
Again, honourable members, debate was concluded on this one, but question could not be put, which I hereby do, since the House corrects that this House adopts a report of the Departmental Committee on Defense and Foreign Relations on its consideration of Kenya's accession to the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, November 17, 2020, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8, Subsection 4 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, approves Kenya's accession to the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 11, the Community Health Workers Bill, National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2020, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to make provision for the training, registration, and licensing of community health workers, to regulate their practice, to provide for the establishment, powers, and functions of the Community Health Workers Council of Kenya, and for connected purposes.
Honourable members, just for information of the House, all these bills which are listed to be read for the first time, and as you may have noticed in the Gazette notice, are listed to proceed to first reading after resolution of question as to whether it concerns or does not concern county governments as contemplated under Article 110, Clause 3 of the Constitution between the two speakers of the House of Parliament. So this is a matter which has been resolved, and therefore these bills now can proceed without many of them, obviously, honourable members, you will find will be taken to the other house, because the other house wants to also do a lot of legislative work. We have no problem with that, in the form of participation, if you read the ones of Article 94. So several of them, but also I'm happy that in this there are quite a number of private members' bills. And I think like the Honourable Dwelle did indicate we need to see as many of the private members' bills. There are about 17 others which are awaiting resolution, which I should do by the end of the day today, so that honourable members' private member bills can also see the light of day. Proceed.
Order number 12, the Institute of Social Work Professional Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2020, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment of the Institute of Social Work and Social Work Professionals Board, to provide for the examination, registration, and regulation of the standards and practice of social work professionals, and for connected purposes.
Honourable members, it's also good to announce that the first bill, Community Health Workers Bill, is a private member's bill by the Honourable Martin Peters Owino. And the second one is by the Honourable, it's also a private member's bill by the Honourable Joshua Kivindu Kimilo. I think it's important for the countries to know. Next.
Order number 13, the Birth and Registration Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 32 of 2020, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Births and Deaths Registration Act and for connected purposes.
There's a bill by the Honourable Martha Wangari. And remember, the rules are, after upon first reading, the bills stand committed to the relevant committees without question put. So that's why we are not putting any question. Proceed.
Order number 14, the Judicial Service Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2020, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Judicial Service Act 2011.
This is a bill by the Departmental Committee of Justice and Legal Affairs. Next.
Order number 15, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2020, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 and for connected purposes.
It's a bill by the Honorable Richard Tongi. Next.
Order number 16, the Alcoholic 2020, first reading. Of 2020 and for connected purposes.
There's a bill by the Honorable Danson Mwakwoma.
Order number 17, the Public Debt Management Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 36 of 2020, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to establish the Public Debt Management Authority and for connected purposes.
There's a bill by the Honorable Sakwa Bunyasi.
Order number 18, the Information Communications Technology Practitioners Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2020, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the training, registration, licensing, practice, and standards of ICT practitioners and for connected purposes.
It's a bill by the Honorable Godfrey Osotsi.
Order number 19, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2020, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Constitution of Kenya Act.